I have record on.
You're showing us your vulnerability, Aditya. People connect with your vulnerability, that you don't know how to do these things. I like that. I like this about you.
So it is recording, but I don't see the option to do Facebook Live. I did do the stuff I was supposed to do beforehand. Any thoughts, Sean?
Well, I know that Silvana, am I saying your name right, Silvana? Somebody's Facebook Living it.
Are they?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, you're not? Also, I thought I saw you Facebook Living it. Man, people are watching us like, dude, get your shit together. We're good, man. So we don't need to Facebook Live.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, so we're definitely recording now. I'm happy to like take out some time, cut up some segments if you guys want, do all of the above a bit later, and we can start. What's great is we're going to have a lot of content. Not only will there be about 18, something between 16 to 20 people telling stories, there'll also be the final rounds as well. I think we can do a lot of fun with the video here now that we're getting at least a raw recording. So thank you, Stephanie, for reminding me to do that. We're at least going to be able to do a lot of fun sort of marketing and stuff as we plan towards a much more classy and organized version of this in the future. But all right, so group one, as they go up, each person in group one is going to be about 4 or 5 people. They're going to tell their 90-second story. I'm going to announce their names, Stephanie, hailing from Chicago, go. And then they'll tell their 90-second story. We finish, go right to the next person. Sean, hailing from New York, even though for some reason he's in North Carolina, go. He'll tell his 90-second story. We finish, on to the next one, on to the next one. So it'll be only about 360 seconds to 450 seconds. And you guys will have heard 4 or 5 stories all in that group. Then we will pause. We will get for each person a number of 7 through 10. If you're going to give a 7 to someone, like, I hope that they've triggered you in some way or have wronged your family or you have some past beef. But basically, anywhere between an 8, a 9, or a 10. And the reason I'm doing this the way we're doing this is because anyone who goes first, it just sucks to be in that position. You've got all kinds of voters who might be like, oh, well, I don't want to give it a 10 yet, etc. So now that you've heard all of group one, you're going to decide how you're going to vote on those particular members of those groups. Now, how you actually do that voting is you see Sean's name and you see him, his lack of hair, etc. He's got his hand up. He's ready to go. What you're going to do, and some of you, this might be second nature, have been on 1 or 2 Zoom calls since COVID, but for those of you who don't know, you're going to click on in the chat on Sean specifically, and you're just going to tell Sean a number, or you can put the person's name and then the number that you're going to give them. And then we'll just go one by one for those people in group one, and we'll slowly assemble the scores for them. Depending on how this works or how we're doing on time, we might have to pivot to just having the first 10 scores per person sort of lock in. And that way, because if there's going to be 50 scores for each person, this is going to be chaos and it's going to take a long time. But if we just get those first 10 scores, it'll encourage people to kind of get your vote in a little quickly, kind of just be mentally checked in. And we want to appreciate them getting those scores in quickly. And then we can move to the next person, the next person, the next person. We will then, because all we've done is basically herded them in these wonderful storytellers like cattle, made them tell their stories. We will then take a pause, speak to the 4 to 5 people. We're going to learn about what their backgrounds are. What are their recent projects? How are they doing with COVID? What's the name of their dog or cat? Etc. Right. And then we're going to move on to group 2, where we repeat ourselves. And so when we are going through those interviews and things like that, it would be really great, since everyone's here basically out of just the willingness to tell a story, and not even a particularly long one. It would be amazing if you're not telling a story here today, or even if you are, to just start, we're going to have each one of them put in a link to maybe their Instagram or their Facebook or a certain project that they're working on. We'd encourage you guys to just click on those links and just keep creating tab after tab. You can look at it later or look at it now, but just, give them a follow, give them a like. It goes a long way in the aggregate. And I know that for things like the way these algorithms work, et cetera, just the more people that are following these wonderful acts, the better. So awesome. Great. I see we're already trolling people in the chat, so I love where this is going.
Are people trolling? Is that acceptable for you? Can we troll?
Oh, please troll.
Trolling okay?
Please troll. In fact, but I will say though, since it's not going to be all the time, when people are telling their stories, I know that in general, a 10-minute story or something like that, it's okay to, if you're just doing like a laugh, a smiley face, an LOL, go for it. If you're going to write a sentence that's very clever, that's going to pull away from someone who's only telling a 90-second story, I might caution against that, guys, because it just is not fair to, I know that if you've, for the tellers, correct me if I'm wrong, you may have done quite a bit to narrow your story down into being something punchy where almost every sentence matters. You might be complaining about how you're 4 seconds over in certain cases, looking at you, Jeff, in that particular scenario, right? And so really just be fully attentive to them. And obviously we love laughter if someone's being funny, a little sad face if things are getting a little real or emotional in these stories. We don't know where they're gonna go. And I hope they go all over the place because we have so many different tellers. So yeah, so wait till the storyteller's done. Thanks, Melissa.
Real quick troll alert. Someone put in the comments, is Addie still talking?
Oh, yes. Oh, actually, yes. So I did want to point out, this is direct from my mom on my message board. I know that came from Richard, but you're in good company, Richard, because my mom literally just texted me, 90 seconds, how will you do it? You take 90 seconds to say hello. And then she started laughing in a text message to me. So feel free to make me a target of your affection as well, guys. All right.
I want to just say that I love the backdrop. What do you have behind you tonight?
Oh, so this is a...
Addie, just the bullet version. What is it?
This is a cheese dosa-based pyramid. It's based off of a story I performed for a certain publication that triggers Sean. And I've got this wonderful illustrator that's helping me with my book project, and so she put this together.
The show!
And so, on with the show. Hailing from Chicago is, let's see where she's at and if she's ready to roll, is Sabine Siddique. She was a feature performer at one of our previous events. That's all I'll say for now. We're going to learn much more about her later. Sabine, I'm going to go ahead and spotlight your video. And Sean, are you ready with time?
I'm good.
Are you going to cut me off like when I'm done? Are you going to flash a light? Am I going to... Okay.
Sean might wave or something if you want to just keep an eye on him. If she's getting close to the end, Sean, you want to do a little wave or something?
Yeah, we'll wave.
Steph, you want to? This is actually something that Steph is doing, and Steph, you got to wave. That's cool.
Okay, cool. Do you see Steph on your screen there?
I do. Steph Story Jam. Steph I Story. Yep. When I'm getting close. Okay, cool. Should I just start?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. All right. Hey guys, this is a story about me and my dad. So one time I was, when I was like 18, me and my dad went to a gas station to get gas before picking up my mom and brother to go to a cousin's house. Go to the gas station. My dad's like, here's some money. Take it inside. I'll pump. I was like, cool. Great stuff. So I go inside with the money, give it to the guy. And the guy looks at me and he's this older man. I think he was in his 40s. And he just, he was this brown man, and I think he was an immigrant. He looks at me, goes, hey, baby. And I was like, ugh, that feels yuck. So I didn't respond, and I went back to the car. And my dumb brain decided that my dad was my friend in that moment. So I was like, hey, Dad, this weird guy inside said, hey, baby, isn't that weird? And I forgot that that's a dad. I forgot. So he says, yeah, that's weird. Listen, you hang out in the car with your brother. I'm going to go inside and go get some gum. Which was what he meant by get some gum was, hey, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to call the cops real fast and yell at this guy. And and this is how I found that out. We're sitting in the car. Me and my brother look at a Dunkin' and there's cops there. And I was like, oh, look at that stereotype right there. Cops getting donuts. Well, like, I didn't know that my dad had called them, and they're watching me while we're watching them. And, like, they're there to see what's going on here. So now, cops are coming over to the gas station. My dad comes out of the gas station screaming. And I was like, oh, shit, that's a dad. He yelled, and things happened in there. So now cops are here, dad's there. I come out. Dad says, hey, honey, tell these officers what he said to you. And I was like, oh, God, I wish it was worse than hey, baby, because this is going to be underwhelming. And I was like, well, officers, nice to see you. The guy inside, he said, hey, baby. And my dad goes, oh, I think I'm almost done. Maybe a few more seconds. I'm done?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. can I, oh crap. Let me just
wrap it up. Just wrap it up.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
I
then-
don't. Wait, just quick note, Sabine. I don't think you're entering into the finals, right? Because you need to run. It'll be at like a way later. So if you wanted to
Okay.
finish the story, because we're all going to want to know.
Okay,
that would be
yeah,
fine.
for sure. Okay, so then, yeah, basically, my dad saw them. They looked under. They were like, "Oh," he said, "Hey, baby," and my dad was like, he could see that they were underwhelmed by that. So then my dad was like, "No, honey, you tell him the way he said it." And I was like, "You weren't even inside. You don't even know how he said." And I was like, "Okay, so officers," he was like, "Hey, baby," you know, but he had these eyes, you know. And then, so what happened after that was one officer goes in, my dad goes in, they yell at him. My dad comes out saying something I didn't think he'd say, which was, "People like you need to get out of this country." And then we drove home, and it was very weird, and that was it. So.
That was awesome. Thanks, Sabine. And it just goes to show that awesome story. It's still very hard to get to 90 seconds. This is not easy, guys. But fantastic.
Yeah.
I was laughing the entire way through.
Sabine is
Just
funny.
for the sake of moving through, and just so you guys know, we are very strict about our 90 seconds. Just for some added background, I think, Sabine, you're basically telling one story today, not trying to advance through the competition, so no worries either way, right? Unless I'm wrong. Okay,
No,
cool.
yeah, you're right. Is this your way of like rejecting me? Like,
Rejection.
because that's what this feels like.
It is. Sabine, it's a sort of good cop, bad cop, and it will come to no one's surprise that I'm the good cop in this scenario.
Amazing.
Let him be the jerk. Let Steph cut you off.
I'm surprised anyone even let me join the police
I'm
force to begin
here
with, let
to
alone.
say,
So
you,
funny.
Sabine, great job. Very funny. You did go well over the time. I'm bleeding. Don't mind me. But thank you for going first. Okay. And everyone knows here that I'm a sweetie in this group. So understand
For
that.
sure.
Yeah.
true.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. All right. So what we're going to do is just move right to the next person. Do not start sending your votes in or anything like that to Sean. We're going to be doing that in group 2. So next on our list here is Matt Catron. I believe also,
Hello.
Matt, are you from Philly or Chicago?
That's me, Philly, yes.
So
Philly.
hailing from Philly is Matt. Stephanie, ready to go?
I can do it.
All right, Matt, let me go ahead and spotlight you. And yeah,
Shit.
ready when you are.
Matt, entering the ring representing Philadelphia in the red, white, and blue trunks, J. Matthew Catron.
Close enough. Hi. You know, we're in lockdown right now. You know, we have all this pandemic shit to worry about, and so I've been thinking a lot about this wonderful, fantastical mane that I've got here. And I was like, you know, in order to be safe for the people around me and the people that I'm going to be around, I better shave this off. And I'm telling this to a friend of mine who immediately shuts that down. He's like, no, absolutely not. Fuck no, you can't do that. No shaving. And I'm just like, whoa, hey, whoa, buddy, chill a little bit. And he starts sending me like all these articles on why it only matters if you're wearing like an N95 or some other like medical grade mask that requires the seal, and how normal fabric masks, that doesn't matter at all. And he's going on and on and on and on and on. I'm just like, dude, what is going on here? And he says, you know, it's really very important to me that we have a well-informed electorate. You know, we can't have people running around spreading misinformation, and that is the entire motivation behind why I'm so insistent on this. And it has nothing to do with the fact that I recently bought you a beard-related birthday gift. And there's definitely no oil on its way to your house, and there's no brushes or anything else like that. And it was, you know, turned into this.
Boom.
Boom.
Was that 90 seconds? That was the shortest one I had.
You're good, man. You're good.
That was under time.
Woo! That was
Under
my goal.
time is good, guys. There's no extra points for hitting exactly 90 seconds.
Now,
If you got a great story and it's 86, 84, perfectly
So,
fine.
just to
guys.
be clear, if Matt goes on to the next round, he can't take those 4 or 5 seconds And
No, you
and-
cannot yield your time to the delegate from
Can you
yourself
tell him
in the
he can't
future.
Give his time to somebody else. It's done.
It's done. It's
All right.
done.
I just want to be super clear.
Yep.
What a great beard you have, Matt.
Great.
Thank
So
you very
next
much.
on
I
our
forgot I muted
list.
myself.
Cool. Next on our list, hailing from either Australia or China or wherever he is now, is Kwong Yu. Kwong, I am going to unmute your audio. Oh, it looks like you've already unmuted yourself, and I'm going to spotlight you.
Can I introduce Kwong?
You can introduce him. In fact, I will stop introducing people.
Because he's kind of my guy. So Kwong is a professional speaker, a Toastmaster, an ultimate Frisbee flinger, and a trainer coach. What's most alarming is that I had to dig up all of that info on myself, he says. You had to dig that up. But
This is getting off the rails. So Stephanie, we're going to do full intros like this at the end of group one, and you can do everyone that is your peeps. What you just read, by the way, is what I was writing about Kwong in the Facebook bio.
well, anyway,
So let's hold off on his intro. All we want to know now is where he's from, and now he can roll.
Here's Kwong.
So I just start, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm 9 years old and I just get home from school. My mum's sitting in the living room and she tells me to go over. And I think to myself two things. One, what the hell did I just do? And two, how do I make an excuse if I don't know what I've done? And I stand in front of my mum and she looks me in the eyes and she says, "Son, I don't want you to cry, but Grandma's passed away." And I think to myself, Grandma, that's a lady my mum visits with me every 3 years on a holiday. Grandma's the lady that, when she smiles, has missing teeth. And Grandma's the lady who beats me when I'm naughty. And so I look at my mum and I just go, "Oh, okay. Does that mean we're going on a holiday?" And my mum bursts into tears. And I have no idea why. And then I start to cry as well. And I cry not because I miss my grandma, but I cry because the person I love the most in the world is sad, and the person that she loves the most is gone.
Under
Damn.
time.
Damn.
Kwong from Australia goes under time and crushes it. What's happening?
Who's cutting onions in here?
Awesome. So I think we're gonna barrel through. Thank you so much, Kwong. We'll unpack that at the end of group one.
A lot of questions for Kwong about that story.
For sure. We're skipping past David. Is that right, Sean?
Yep.
All right. So next on the stage, hailing from some sort of interchangeable town in Massachusetts, is Kurt Mullen, ready to hit the stage. So Kurt, let me unspotlight here. Let me find you. Where are you at? Kurt, do you want us to raise your hand or something? Oh, there you are. All right. And
That chiseled line. Here we go.
Kurt, do you want to unmute yourself? And stage is yours.
Okay, thank you. Have there been any major changes in your life lately? This is the young EMT asking me this, and I'm on a gurney that he's just pulled out of an ambulance, and we're in a driveway looking at a house where there's this big Christmas party in my town. And I was just in there a moment ago, but I've just become that guy, that middle-aged guy who passes out at the Christmas party. And now I'm in this gurney and I'm, full of shame and I'm trying to sort this out. I'm playing medical detective for the EMT. I'm saying, I went for a long run and I didn't drink a lot of water. And when I got to the party, didn't want to be at the party, and I smoked some weed with a friend that was a little bit strong, and we kicked this around for a second, and the EMT and I decide that these two things are just not going to help me keep my feet. But, you know, there's something really trustworthy about this EMT. And for a second or two, I think, and I'm thinking, I'll just tell him, you know. Well, the thing that's really got me is my brother just died recently. He was only 37 years old, and I've been rattled by it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, you know, and it's for Christmas. It's cold in this driveway, and the windows are all lit up, and there are people looking at me. They're gawking, and I know some of them. And I'm really happy that I can't freaking hear one word that they have to say, because sometimes you just want someone new to talk to. And that's what I have in this EMT. And there's just something, well, this is my first Christmas without my brother. And this is what you do when you lose somebody you love. You keep them alive in stories you tell. And it matters to me. I never get to tell him, but it matters to me when he leans in. He says this one word, but he says it in just the right way. Oh? Thanks.
Damn.
Awesome.
Okay.
So I think Sean, I think just to make sure that we get in the flow of voting for people after a group, I might cut off group one right now. We will begin to, also you're on mute, Sean. We can go ahead. All right, so before we start to get introduced to the four people that just spoke, what we'll do is we'll kick off with voting. So remember, in case you hadn't heard this before I announced it, or after I announced it, but basically what you're going to do now is think of a number from 7 through 10 for Sabine. Again, it was already a hilarious story, so I don't think we're going to see any sevens here. But basically, try to give her a number independent of anyone else that went. And what you're going to do is send that directly to Sean Wellington by going down in the chat, clicking on 2, finding Sean, clicking on Sean, and having that come through.
Aditya, just to be clear, they're only sending in Sabine scores now, not everyone.
All right, at this moment, we're only doing Sabine. We'll give it a solid 15 to 20 seconds for that, and then we'll move on to the next person as well. Sean, are they at least coming through?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And take your time in these transitions because there's a lot of numbers here.
No problem. Actually, yeah. Cool.
Everybody make sure it's 7, 8, 9, or 10. There's no decimals.
Yeah. Integers only, guys.
Did you say integers?
Oh, I said integers. I'll say it again. I don't back down math terminology to anybody.
More math?
I was told there would be no math.
Hard to do a competition without some math. Like, I guess we could have like a color system, right? Like closest to red is the best story. Good point, Jeff. I knew it. Call him out, Sabine. Call him out. Especially since he's a fellow competitor of yours. Basically, the highest score you could give without you having triggered him in some way. Are there people in the waiting room? Let me see.
Just so you guys know, if you go under 7, like, no, make sure there's no decimals. Aditya, tell people to follow direction.
Okay. Follow directions. Do you mean something specific?
That would help, wouldn't it?
Oh, you tell me.
I just don't know decimals. That's all. We're good.
Also, this is a complete sidebar, not worth paying attention to, but Melissa, my wife, Melissa, your dad's iPad is here, and I don't see anyone in the waiting room.
What?
It's a sidebar conversation, not important.
I'm good with her voting.
Yes, EBK, no worries. This, if you didn't happen to hear someone's story or anything like that, this is just going to be an average that we're doing here. It's not like you got the most votes If you got a bunch of 7s and you beat out someone who only got 2 10s, it's not going to go down like that.
So I've got Sabine scores.
Cool. Great. So now let's move to after Sabine was, where's that beard at? Where's that beard at? It was J. Matthew. Catron, like patron. Catron.
You're getting further away with every guess. It's beautiful.
Well, you didn't say hotter or colder. But yeah, I'm kidding. All right. But yeah, we're going to now start doing Jay's story. Let's start to like pick up the pace on this a little bit. Not for Sean. Sean, you take your time and let us know if we're going too fast or anything. But I do want the votes to get in as soon as possible.
I'm sorry. Could you tell us again who we're sending the votes to?
To Sean Wellington.
Thank you.
We know what we know what score you're giving yourself, Mr. Catron.
14.
Everybody for themselves would just do a 10. If everybody gets a 10 for themselves, then that cancels it out, and they don't have to vote for themselves, right?
That's right.
If my math is correct. I'm echoing. Is everybody else echoing? Or is it just is it your damn mic again? Everything?
Probably.
Mike. All right, I have got what I believe is everybody's scores, all of Matthew's scores. No decimals, really. Yeah, really, no decimals. If there's
We've
some
got people who don't even like the math aspect of this, and some people want decimals.
There's a lot of pushback. We're getting a lot of pushback. We've got people who are abstaining. We have a couple people who already jumped shit. Look, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's perhaps imperfect, but it's enough. It's good. All right, I think we're done with Matthew, so I think we can move on to Kwong.
All right, everyone is voting for Kwong, sending your vote to Sean, and not to the general chat. Bob.
What are you laughing at?
People are just trolling the shit out of me in private chat is basically what I'm laughing at, Sean.
But listen, man, if they weren't trolling you, that would be a much worse sign. You know that, right?
So I was thinking about maybe doing the intros to people, but I think, even though this is the awkward portion of this, I think it's better we do it this way and get through the voting than be fake listening to people's interview section, not actually clicking and following what they're up to, etc. So cool. Right. I think, I think this is a good way of saying we should just get the first 10 votes that come in for anybody, Sean, and then just move to the next one. This is a good reason why, right? Because I think it's taking too long.
What exactly are people complaining about here? I'm turning into the bad cop now. What exactly is the problem? We're taking 2 minutes to vote?
Yeah.
Okay. God.
Yes.
Sorry. There's going to be 1 or 2 people that are whiny about it, and everyone else is fine. I'm not pointing at you if you're whiny, but you know who you are. All right.
All right. So I think we've got at least 10 votes for Kwong, right, Sean? Ready to average him up somewhere down the road? All right. And so then finally we have Kurt and his story. Again, you're sending your votes to Sean. Sean, just pick up the first 10, and then we can start to get to know everybody.
All right.
Cool. All right. So what we're going to do now is get to know each of the four speakers. This is in the interest of time. We're going to go through these with just a quick question to each one of them. Then they will put in the chat just one link or Instagram handle or Twitter feed thingy or whatever. And just make sure that if it's something that you guys can click on or quickly copy and paste to or something, follow their stuff, see what they're up to, etc. And then we'll start moving into group 2. We've got 3 more groups like this to go. So just want to make sure that this is still enjoyable for everyone, that we're not spending a lot of time kind of just looking at each other and throwing in numbers in chats. So great. So Sabine, thank you, number 1, for being our first storyteller. Thank you for being our featured comedian at previous Mom's Cheese Dosa event. Tell us what is the one super interesting thing that's happened over the last 30 days to you specifically?
Okay. The most interesting thing in the last 30 days. Well, I learned how to do a winged liner on my eyes, and I'm really proud of myself for doing that. Thank you. Everyone's so disappointed, and I don't care.
That was perfect. So Sabine, just tell us a little bit about where you're from and how we can kind of support you and follow you. Sabine's also a stand-up comedian as well. So I love that we're having lots of different types of storytellers here as well. We've got Anthony America with the longhorn or whatever, some sort of horns, because we have a couple of stand-ups here as well.
Awesome.
So sorry, go ahead, Sabine.
Yeah, no, I'm a stand-up comedian from Chicago. I am also an actor, and I do random commercials. Oh, I should have just said, I got to see my lottery ad on a billboard driving downtown. That was actually pretty cool. So yeah, I just do stand-up, act, a little bit of modeling, and I'm living at home with my parents, and it's actually really fun. So that's a little bit about me.
Love
I don't want to make it too long.
Yeah, no worries. Go ahead and throw your information in the chat so people can follow you in the future, and then we'll move on over.
Okay.
Great. So I think our next teller was Jay Matthew. Is that someone, Steph, that you wanted to introduce, do a little Q&A with?
Where's Steph?
Steph's.
Sorry, I'm here.
Cool.
Hi.
Did you
Jay.
want? Yeah, good.
Jay, how you been?
I'm doing fantastic, all things considered.
Are you a musician, an artist, an audio engineer?
I was a musician in like high school. From when I was single digits to high school, I played trumpet for like 10 years. But actually, the reason I have the microphone is partially I set it up for this and other events like it that I wound up never doing. This is my first online storytelling since COVID started.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the most creative thing you did in the last 24 hours?
Last 24 hours?
Oh,
I'm working on a book.
Sweet.
Love
Thanks.
it. Jay, how can we best follow you? Is there something you can throw in the chat for us?
Oh, absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter at JM which spoilers, I pronounced it. But mostly what you'll find there is links to my blog, which is mattstolltales.com, which I will now put in the chat.
Now put in the chat, and everyone dutifully click on to support JMatt. All right, Sean, do you want to pick up some of these, the next acts here? Or no, I think Steph, it was Kwong. Did you want to do a quick interview with Kwong?
Kwong.
Steph, why do you keep turning the camera off?
You like
Are you
to
busy?
dance?
I like to dance?
Yes. Do you
What?
like?
Yes.
Yes, you do.
No, because I know you're going to make me dance if I say I like to dance. So
Come on, Kwong. You know where I'm going with this. All right. Kwong, when you asked your girlfriend to marry you, how did you propose?
I was at a storytelling workshop and there was a session at the very end where everybody was telling their stories. So I thought that would be something fun, and I came up with a story about us, and I proposed at the end without a ring and without anything. But I figured that that would be more memorable than me proposing to her at McDonald's or somewhere else.
Thank you, Kwong.
That felt evil. Kwong, how can we follow you on the socials? Mind throwing it in the chat first?
Yep. I don't really have much to follow because I've been stuck in China
It could
for
just
a
be
long
your
time.
Facebook page, guys. Like, it doesn't have to be, your whittling group or anything like that. Just feel free to throw in your social media.
I think this might be it. I don't know how to actually make it a nice short URL. So it's just Speaking with Kwong on Facebook, or you can find me on LinkedIn.
Very cool. All right. Great. Steph has gone on mute again, so I don't know if she wants to introduce Kurt or if Sean wants to introduce Kurt.
No, it's me. Kurt! Cat.
Kurt, you're muted.
Kurt,
I'm unmuted. Yeah.
Kurt, I have known you for some time. I always see you in the same room. Is that upstairs? It looks almost like an attic.
Yeah, it does because of the ceiling. No, it's a shed. When my dad died, I sold his house. I built this friggin' shed in my backyard.
All right, cool.
It's not funny that my dad died.
No.
But it's nice that I got this shed. I did a lot of work for this shed, though.
Great deadpan there. When I see the banner behind you that says read, I'm insulted. Yeah. Is that how I should feel?
No, it's in Braille and I mean, whatever you want to do with it, Sean. I mean, we can talk offline, There are things I can read to you. There are audiobooks too.
My final question before you put a link in for something is you have beautiful teeth. Do you floss regularly?
Oh, no, I floss 38% of the time. I'm pretty honest too. I maybe better teeth than honesty, but I'm working at it.
He's got the smile, the story skills, and the chiseled jaw. I mean, it's like triple threat, man.
That's my cheese dosa friend hooking me up with that. Thank you. That's a nice intro. Thank you, everybody. I'll put some stuff in chat.
Yep. Yeah, Kurt, I think, is the only one where we're at risk of just receiving his email address because he also teaches storytelling as well.
Thank you, Addie. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, thank you to the first group. Obviously, feel free to stick around. Entirely possible that you'll be moving on to the finals as well. We also want this room to be nice and full, seeing you voting on other people as well. This is much more about a community anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off group 2. Before we start group 2, people have been kind of coming in and out of the chat, and there have been a lot of questions where I feel like maybe I answered them. So maybe there's some people who are coming in after I'm saying stuff. So we'll just start again with the ground rules for group 2. What we're going to do first is just introduce the name of the person speaking. They're going to tell their, apparently I've just been spotlighting Kurt. So they're going to tell their 90-second story. We will then move to the second person. They're going to tell their 90-second story. And we'll do that for maybe 3 or 4 people like that, or 4 or 5 people like that. And then we're going to stop and we're going to get the votes in for each of the person that spoke. And then we'll do what you just saw. Get to learn a little bit more about them, get our interviewing skills. We're also getting into the flow of this as well. And then we'll move on to group 3, et cetera. When we finish group 4, there'll be the final round as well. Okay, cool. So let's see here. So next on our list, hailing from Houston, I believe, is Sneha Desai. Sneha, are you here? If so, okay, yep, I see some waving. I'm going to spotlight your video and feel free to unmute yourself and off you go.
So in my first semester in the United States and in clinical psychology, I was asked to conduct an IQ test on any child between the ages of 6 and 16. Now at that time, I did not have any access to a child, so I decided to knock on my neighbor's door because they happened to have Mickey Mouse stickers on their window. I asked the man who answered, "Do you have any children? And if yes, can I borrow one?" And he said, "Sure, I have 4. Which one do you want?" So I picked the 8-year-old. The next day when I showed up at the apartment, he was nowhere to be found, but I was greeted by a woman in her 20s, her mother, a 9-month-old crawling around, and the 8-year-old. They set us up at the kitchen table. The TV was blaring, the women were gossiping, and it was a chaotic environment. Halfway through the test, there was loud banging on the door. "It's the police," we heard. The women started panicking, the boys started panicking, I started panicking, the baby didn't care. I was desperate to get this IQ test done, so I was rushing the kid through the test. Turns out that the police were there to arrest the man who I had encountered the previous day because he had kidnapped the 9-month-old child that was crawling around. I was traumatized by the questions they asked, but they let me go with my incomplete IQ test. But what was even more traumatic was that was my first and my last F in my academic career. Thank you.
I think we can all relate to the trauma of what that might have felt like, or at least some of us. All right, so next on our list, thank you, Sneha. We'll be catching up with you as soon as we get through the next 3 or 4 tellers. So next, hailing from Las Vegas, Nevada, is Richard Munchkin. And so Richard, I'm going to spotlight your video and feel free to unmute, and Stephanie's taking time, so keep an eye on her as well.
Am I unmuted? Am I good? Okay. I'm 8 years old and my parents come home from across the street. Their best friends live across the street, the Fulleys, and they often go over there for dinner and cocktails. And they come home and I see my dad remove a small frying pan from his coat. And I'm wondering, why does he have a frying pan in his coat? And he doesn't put it in the kitchen, he puts it in his office on his desk. And a few weeks later, they go over to their house again. And when my dad comes home, he goes in his office and I see him take out a pepper shaker. No salt shaker, just the pepper shaker. And he puts it with the frying pan on his desk. And I'm wondering, what is going on? I mean, he can't be stealing these items. We have one big rule in my house: no lie, cheat, or steal, right? And this goes on for a few months. And he comes home with these innocuous things: an ashtray, a candy dish, a man's shoe, but just one. Anyway, finally Christmas comes and we go over to their house on Christmas Day and I hear laughing in the other room. And as I go in, I see that he has wrapped up all of these items and given them back to them as Christmas gifts. Now, I got a lot of things from my father, but I think the thing I appreciate the most is his bizarre and twisted sense of humor. Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks, Richard. Love that one as well. Fantastico. Moving through, I believe, from another interchangeable city in Massachusetts. Coming to you strong is Mary. And Mary, are you ready? And let me spotlight your video.
I'm ready.
Awesome. I'm kidding, Mary. You're not from Boston, though, right? What's the name of your city?
Malden.
Malden, Massachusetts.
Malden, Massachusetts.
All right, ready when you are.
Ready. All right. It's Halloween, the first Halloween after my father has passed away. I am a psychic medium. I decided to take the day off and go get my nails done because it's been a long season. I am hoping that I hear from my father, the dead from the other side, because that's what I do for a living, but I don't trust my own dead is going to talk to me. And on Halloween, they say that the dead is closer to you than any other day during the year. It's like they have a direct line to you and perfect Wi-Fi. So I'm sitting in the nail salon and I send this little prayer up to my dad and I say, you know what? It's Halloween. I'm supposed to be able to hear you. I see you, something. I want a message from you, Dad. Let's see how good you are. And so she finishes up my nails and I leave the salon and I go to walk across the street to the parking lot and a car speeds right by me. Now, my father's name was Jack, but my mother got away with calling him Jackie. And so as this car speeds by me, I turn and look at the license plate and it's Jackie.
One minute and 5 seconds. Whoa.
Fantastic. Guys, I don't I don't wish anyone on doing a 60-second story, but I feel like Mary could pull it off, which is pretty wild. Moving to our next teller, hailing from Erie, Pennsylvania. Very excited to bring about Anthony, Tony, America the Great, Morelli. Anthony, going to spotlight you, and off you go when you're ready.
Hey, what's up, guys? So my story is about my dad as well. Growing up, he was a trickster. His favorite holiday was April Fool's Day. My birthday is April 3rd. His holiday's April 1st. That's what he always remembers first. But I had 3 younger brothers, and we would always just wake up in terror on April Fool's Day. We would wake up to aluminum foil being all over the floor, shaving cream on top of that. Whenever we stepped out of bed, when we heard the alarm, because we knew game was on, we would just slip and fall and just be plastered and all kinds of crap. So then it was a dash to the bathroom. We got to the bathroom and we would grab the handle and it would be covered in honey. So now it's a fight between the brothers to get the door open. Whoever got in the shower first, like, you're declared winner. Well, whoever got in the shower first, my dad went as far as to take the shower head off the shower and fill it with spree candy the night before and put it back on. So no matter what you did, you went to school sticky. Well, one day he didn't play any tricks. We all went to school. I'm in middle school. My brother's still in elementary school. I get there, get to first period, happy that nothing happened, open my book bag, and it's full of Barbie dolls. My dad had to go out and buy all these Barbie dolls for all 3 of us brothers, or all 3 of my younger brothers and I. Joke ends up being on him. 2 of my brothers are gay, so they had the best recess of their entire lives that day.
Oh.
That's my story.
Boom. Anthony, America. Fantastic. So I think what we're going to try to do now, so let me unspotlight this, or at least, let me spotlight myself.
I am ready.
Okay, so we've got Sean who's ready. Hopefully we've gotten a little bit smoother with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to not say it out loud, but in my head I'm going to be counting to 10 for each person. So get your votes in for that particular person by sending your vote to Sean specifically, not to everyone in the Zoom chat, but to Sean. And the first person on that list was Sneha Desai's story. And so everyone send that to Sean. I've got a mental clock now counting down from 10. And so Sean, once I say stop, just take the numbers that you happen to have, and we'll move on to the next person. And let's go ahead and stop now. Sean, you got at least 10 or something more than that, right?
I got like over 20.
Perfect. So Sean, I'll let you adjust yourself. And next on our list is going to be Richard Munchkin's story. And so everyone send Sean your votes for Richard. And Sean, let us know if it would be helpful for something like a little initials or something beforehand in case the numbers start to look like they could be. Okay. All right. And so next we are going to Mary Dalba's story. It's hard to do that. Dalba. Trying to get like the nice apostrophe D in there. But we'll move to her story. So everyone take 10 seconds to vote for Mary. I feel like this is going smoother. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good. It's good.
He's nice. All right. And now having received scores, and remember everyone who might be getting maybe less scores than someone else just in the number of people, we'll be doing an average. So, you know, it won't really matter all that much if you got 20 votes or 15 votes or something like that. And so then finally, Anthony Morelli. child of Erie. And that's that. All right, so now that we have the votes, Sean, I'll let you interview our first three if you want to kind of go down the line with Sneha, Richard, and Mary. And then I'll round it out with Anthony's quick interview as well.
My first person is Sneha. Sneha, where are you located? Are you in Houston?
Yes.
And what is the most challenging part of living in Houston? For me, it might be the humidity. What's it for you?
I think I would agree with that. And when there was no COVID, it was definitely the traffic.
Okay. So traffic plus humidity.
Yes.
Is bad in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you name any starting player on the Houston Rockets NBA basketball team in the bubble as they play in Orlando this week? Is that weird? Did I just get it weird? Make it weird?
Yes, because I don't watch any sports. I have zero knowledge about any sports in any part of the world.
So it would be, I won't ask you about another Houston sports franchise. That would be just a loser.
No, I did go to the Astros parade, but I went just because I did not want to experience any FOMO.
And all right, sure, understand. And does Houston actually have a problem?
Not anymore, because I live here now.
Right, so you solved the problem.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice one, and I think that's a scene right there. Thank you, Sneha.
All right, Sneha, I know that you do a lot of different things, from acting, modeling, doctor, etc. How can we follow you best and easiest? And throw it into the chat when you have a chance.
Okay, I will. I'm very much into TikTok these days, which I believe is a teen sensation. So I'm not sure if anyone else here is on TikTok, but that's my primary social media now. But I will also give you my Instagram.
Please do. Throw it in the chat. Everyone follow it. I believe if I was following your Facebook correctly, there was over 1 million views on just one of her videos. I think you crossed another 1 million views on another video. So I don't know what you're doing right, but that's pretty wild.
4 of them with 1 million views now. Yes.
Yeah, hang on one second. I needed to know this shit before I talk to her. Back up for 1 second. Wait. It might be worth sharing with us how one gets the 4 million views. Maybe not.
We'll do that after the finals. We got to roll. And I don't think that's something that you just explained in 30 seconds.
10 seconds.
Sure, it took a lot of hard work. All right, Sean, stop leaning back. You're still on the hot seat here.
One of my favorite people in the world, Richard Munchkin, is here with us. He shared a great story. Richard, tell us something that's not so glamorous about living in Las Vegas.
Well, what's not so glamorous is when you go into the casino to play and they come and surround you with security guards and say, sorry, but you're not allowed to play here anymore.
For everybody who's not a professional gambler,
Wait, there are people who aren't?
Apparently there might be a few. Is there anything we should, so if someone were considering moving to Las Vegas, what's the first thing you might suggest to them that they should consider before moving there?
Well, the first thing you are required to learn, even if English is your second language, is the phrase, it's a dry heat.
Yeah.
So all this next week, every day, the temperature is supposed to be above 110. Mm-hmm. So if you are considering moving here, you better be okay with the heat. So yeah, that, and the school system is horrendous. So
really?
It's one of the worst in the country. So if you were thinking about moving here and you have kids, you better, be able to afford private school.
Right. Oh, I was thinking of like.
Other than that, it's a fantastic place to live.
Give your kids away and move to Vegas. I think the question everybody's thinking about here is, I want you to imagine you're in a casino. For some reason, you've decided to play roulette, and you've got an option of red or black. Which one do I choose?
Well, I would only be playing the game if I had a way to have a mathematical advantage.
Yeah.
So the only way that I can think of that may occur would be is if I was using a computer that was timing the speed of the wheel and the ball, and the computer told me that I should be betting on red or black. But that would be highly unlikely, and computers are illegal in Nevada now, so it probably wouldn't happen.
All right. Cutting off this love fest, Sean.
I get fascinated with this.
All right, Richard. I know that you seem to have an anathema towards photos of yourself in postings and things like that. I know that asking for your socials and for you to enter it in there may be like pulling teeth, but feel free to let us know how we can follow you.
Yeah.
And put it in the chat.
Yeah, for this crowd, I
What does
didn't
that
know.
mean?
I have several different accounts, but I ran the Las Vegas Story Slam, and I think that's what most people here might be interested in. So I put the Facebook page in there.
Yeah. The Vegas Story Slam works differently than other cities, man. They break bones there, baby. Just so you know.
And
Brandon.
just so you know, you may have only chatted that to Sean or someone because we didn't see it in the chat yet.
You're right. Thank you.
Cool. No problem. All right. Sean,
Again?
you're still going.
Mary.
Hey, my boo.
Mary, tell me what it's like to, what's the weirdest question people ever ask you when you tell them you're a medium? I'm sure you get a lot. What's a weird question people respond with?
Oh, I mean, it's, do the dead hang out with me all the time? Do they wake me up? Do they bother me? I just usually say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel weird because I was going to ask you that question, second question. So now I really have to think on my feet. What is that lovely color behind you that is either wallpapered or painted on your walls? It's
Oh, that orange? Yeah. Yeah.
Burnt orange? What do we call that?
It's like a burnt orange in my place. Yeah. Yeah. It's, my favorite color is purple, but you always have to mix it up sometimes. So.
Yeah. I know Aditya is going to be mad at me because he's going to probably thinking, quick, finish it up. Okay. But it's worth noting that you have great teeth. Kurt has great teeth. You're both from Massachusetts. I don't know. It could be the water, or maybe Massachusetts attracts people with nice teeth. What do you think?
I know that my mother sold an insurance policy to make sure I had braces. That should be a story I should tell. So That's why I have such nice teeth. And when people tell me I have a nice smile, I say, my mother will be very, very happy to hear that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe she's born with it.
All right.
I'm complete.
Awesome. Mary, I know that you've probably got some cool socials for us to follow as well. Feel free to throw that in there.
I'll throw in the chat.
Cool. Or
who's going to handle Anthony with that bandana in Pennsylvania?
Oh, I am. I'm going to handle Anthony.
Oh,
no, you're not.
Good fucking luck.
This is I have like two ride or die people that I've got Anthony, Steph. So let me, before we even ask Anthony a question, let me just go down a long journey of how I even met Anthony. And it starts with my wife and her mom being the rib lady of Erie, Pennsylvania, which is to say she has the rights to the annual Rib Fest. And then it gets weirder, where there's a show called Undercover Billionaire, which featured a dude who probably made his money like bankrupting America via the mortgage crisis. And to clean up his image, he created a show where he went into Erie, Pennsylvania and started a brand new rib business from the ground up, got into Melissa's mom, who's here today as well, Kathy's rib contest, ended up winning that contest, which led to a lot of fanfare. And long story short, eventually we went out to Erie, my wife and I, and we're just at a restaurant. And this wonderful person, I don't even think you were serving us, Anthony. I think you just came by because I had questions about the booze. And you just started talking my ear off about beer. And then eventually we ended up hitting it off. And later that night or 2 nights later, something like that, we saw your comedy show. So tell us, how difficult is it to be a comedian in Erie, and anything else that might be on your mind?
being a comedian in Erie has always been tough because I literally have put the scene on my back and started it with a couple other friends around town. So there's not a whole lot, but I do a lot of outside stuff now because that's allowed and it's the safest avenue. I'm very avid on what's happening with COVID. I'm very up to date. My wife's an infectious diseases pharmacist, so we see the real numbers that are happening. But so once a month we put on a showcase because we still need laughter, but it's strictly outdoors, sanitation process. So it's interesting. It's interesting to be a comedian right now. You know, you think you have a lot of time to write and come up with new stuff, but my mind's so far from comedy right now. I'm learning a whole lot of stuff that maybe I didn't want to learn, but I need to at the time. But outside, I'm a person that I resemble a lumberjack a little bit because like I've taken down 25 trees in my backyard. We have an acre and a half of land. I've cut, split, and stacked all 25 trees so far. Right. So
over here in the New Jersey, New York area, we talk about land in terms of just how many bathrooms your apartment happens to have. So I don't know what this acre word means. I know Steph wanted to interview you as well. So Steph, I'm going to cede it over to you as well. It sounded like there was a feeding frenzy for Anthony.
No, I think you pretty much covered it. Well done.
Cool. Sorry about that, Steph. We just want to put Erie on the map over here, but go ahead and throw in your socials, how we can follow you. I know you're pretty active on Facebook. You have some clever status messages. Which we're all
mostly comes from Twitter, man. So I'll put, just follow me, Anthony Morelli, on Facebook, but I'll put my Twitter and all that. Cool.
Throw it all up in there. Awesome. Okay, cool. So before we move to round 3, Sean, I was going to tell a story and maybe do a little interview of you as well. Maybe a little back and forth.
Do it. You do your story, you interview me, and then let's go to round 3.
Steph, if you want a time, do we have you on time, Steph?
I can, yes.
All right, I've tried to make it 90 seconds. This was written today, so fingers are crossed.
I'm timing also. I really want you to go. Okay.
Oh, shit. All right. This large glass has milk, orange juice, some bits of scrambled eggs, Canadian bacon, some syrup, soggy biscuit pieces, and about a tablespoon of hot sauce. I hold it, try not to smell it, and close my eyes. You see, we're at Camp Bernie, an 8th grade camping trip that combined both middle schools. A real chance to redefine myself, to no longer be a nerd, until my dad decided he wanted to chaperone the trip. I promised to get A's next year. I'll call from a payphone every hour, but nothing could stop him. I threw endless tantrums, and he agreed to be at least in a different cabin. That first night, I couldn't sleep. Just one of his dad jokes could mean another 4 years of me just being me. The next morning, someone from Dad's cabin came up to me and said, "Dude, your dad? This kid was smiling, though. He tells the best scary stories." What? On it went like this for the rest of the trip with others. "Dude, your dad is so funny. Yo, how is your dad so good at ping pong? Me and Mr. Surendran won potato sack." In a vacuum, this sounds like a heartwarming story of misunderstanding, but at Camp Bernie, this meant Dad's cabin was leading in points to win camp. So I was furious. The final round was a surprise breakfast food challenge. Least leftovers win. My cabin had a chance, but that glass needed to be finished. No one else would go near it. I open my eyes and take a look at it one last time. I took one gulp. What now, Dad? 2 gulps. Goodbye middle school and my nerd status. 3 gulps. Victory. Sweet, sweet victory. Who's cool now?
Boom.
All right. So Sean wanted to do a quick interview of you, and now we'll start to get to know our host in between rounds as well.
Very quick with me.
Very quick with you. All right. So Sean, tell us a little bit about what have you been as active with all of the different kind of community groups that you've held together? We can go into what those are in a second, but were you this active sort of before COVID, or has that been something that really started a lot of this?
Mostly, not mostly, but it definitely ramped up with COVID. It seemed like it was a good opportunity to do things virtually. It snowballed a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about maybe 2 or 3 of the major events and groups that you have? I know there's more than that.
Well, we could focus on the one main thing. I think most people here know, I labeled it originally Life in the Time of Corona. And the main events, which I hope people here come to or return to, 7 by 7, there's 7 tellers, 7 stories. Several people here have been on there. We do some slams. We have something called Story Flash, which also is a real popular event, which is sort of an improv plus story plus a little liquid courage. Yeah, and that's it. So I'm trying new things, but that's the short of it.
Very cool.
Am I echoing? It's your damn mic. Damn you. Yes. And also, yeah, Kurt, I'm going to just add one thing and then we can go back to the storytellers. I'm actually working on a couple of podcasts, but I know like everybody says that, so I don't even want to say that. You know, but one I started a couple months ago is called Suicide Noted. And I interview suicide attempt survivors. And that's gone really well. And more people are listening we're up to 40 countries, dude. That feels good. I like that. So people are hearing it. I don't know how the algorithm works, but it's gaining traction, which I think is important. So if that applies to you, if you're a suicide attempt survivor or you know somebody, shoot me a message. If you're open to talking about it, I'd love to connect. I'm done. I'm complete. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sean. If there's anything you want to throw in the chat as well, feel free to do that. We can follow that. If anything, maybe just the Life in the Times of Corona Facebook group, I think is a good way to kind of understand a lot of what you post, a lot of everything in there, right? Like an umbrella group.
Yeah. I'll put that in there. Thanks, man.
Yep. Cool. All right. So now we're going to move to group 3. I think that felt like a well-oiled machine. That felt good. I felt like we were starting to roll through this. Thanks, voters, for throwing in your votes. Jeff, I have let your dad into the room as well. The door is creaked open. He should be in now. All right. So moving to round 3. Let's see who's up next. So Melissa Reaves, could you let us know where you're hailing from, and let me spotlight the video for you.
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, great. Let me get this out of my way. Hi, I'm from Seattle.
All right, awesome. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. She's 84 years old and I'm hugging her. Thank you so much for being so amazing and a part of our lives like you've been. I know that sometimes I didn't have patience and I was rude sometimes because things sometimes just get too loud, but I know that you always came from love. I keep hugging her. I smell her fur. Remember when we met? That guy was standing on the corner holding you, and he's like, anyone want a puppy? What kind of dog is that? She's half lab and half noof. I don't know what a noof is, but that little black puppy with your little white paw with the chocolate chip spots. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll take her. We're gonna go on our last car ride today. But you're gonna be okay, all right? We're there with you. Goodbye, Tulip. You were such a great dog. Such a great dog. Thank you.
We got some weird audio stuff going on. Thank you, Melissa.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sean, while I figure whatever's going on with my audio, do you want to move to the next speaker first?
Sure. Our next storyteller lives in Chicago. Oh, we're not doing the bios. Our next storyteller's name is Jeff. He's a pretty rad dude. Jeff, unmute yourself. Take it away. You know who you are, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, guys? Okay. Get stuff ready. Okay. So I grew up in a very unique family business. From 1980 to 2012, we were the largest manufacturer of political campaign goods in the country. So it was mostly buttons, mostly for Democrats. So if anyone got a hope you changey thing in 08, that came through our warehouse. And every 4 years, the Democratic Committee would ask us to come and supply official merchandise for the convention. And this put us not behind the scenes, but kind of next to behind the scenes. So we'd be moving boxes and Willie Nelson just walked by on his way to sing the national anthem. Or Bill O'Reilly would be in the corner yelling at someone because Bill O'Reilly's a dick. So a few days before the 2004 convention in Boston, that one, my dad and I were loading up all the merchandise, and we made friends with one of the Secret Service agents who really liked one of our shirts. And somehow he happened to find a few in his size that had conveniently fallen off of our cart in front of him. So the next time we came through, he opened up a different door for us and said, go take a look in here. It was the main stage for the convention. So Dad and I went up to the podium and took a couple of pictures, and then more Secret Service agents came and escorted us off. 4 days later, John Kerry would accept the presidential nomination on that very stage. And just a few months later, he would lose by 35 electoral votes. We tried. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I think in the interest of time, we're going to move to our next teller, which is Bob Dancer from Vegas. Bob, I'm going to spotlight you and go ahead and get started once I find you here. Okay. And you are ready to roll.
In 2007, I get a challenge from my nephew for a bike race. I'm 60 years old. My best years of athletic accomplishment are decades behind me. But he's rather puny, and I like him, so I accept. The race is going to be in Palm Springs. He hitches a ride with my brother, and we go. There's 1,000 people in the race, but as far as family bragging rights go, it's James and me, mano a mano. At the signal we come to, I'm 30 yards ahead, and I go through on dark yellow. James, of course, has to wait till it's green. But I'm on the other side, and I wait, and I give him time because I know I'm going to win, and I don't want my win to be tainted. The final signal is right across the street from the chute where we feed in for the finish. James has caught me. He's just totally relaxed, thinks it's over, and we tied. But I know it's how you do on the other side of the street. So when the light turns green, I rush across, and I'm ahead, 10 spots ahead of him. And I'm saying, Uncle's rule. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. James wants a rematch for the next year, but I don't think so, because in 12 months, James will be 7.5 years old. Thank you.
Boom. Aditya, can you hear me okay? Your mic is off. I know you might have.
Yeah, I think I'm fine. I should be good now, and I think if everyone should already be muted, and I think some new people came in that were not, which led to a little bit of that feedback. Okay. So let's see here. We've got 1, 2, 3. So we'll do one more and then close this group off. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So Jay Rohr, there we go. He's got his hand up, ready to roll. Jay, in the interest of time, I'm going to let you go ahead and get started. Ready when you are. Jay, you're muted as
well. Okay. So I'm in a bar and I'm chatting up this wonderful young lady, and she happens to mention a movie that she's always meant to see but never had the opportunity to. And I say to her, "You're in luck, because I have a copy of that film." She says, "Great. How about you come by my place tomorrow? We'll hang out, we'll watch it. It's a date." The next morning, I wake up and I frantically run around the city of Chicago looking for a copy of this film that I don't actually own. This is the early days of the internet, and so there's no way to get it online. And I go to all the video stores I can find because they still exist at this time. And as I'm hurling myself around at the last possible place I would ever expect to find it, I managed to find what I believe to have been the only copy of this movie in the entire city of Chicago. So Now I've got it. I run over to her place, throw in the DVD player. We get on the couch. We watch it. And it is the worst possible movie to watch on a first date. It's an obscure Japanese horror film called Audition. And it's essentially about how your new paramour will turn out to be a bloodthirsty psychopath who will drug you, torture you sadistically, and then saw off your feet with piano wire. Fortunately, we were both the same kind of weird, and it worked out. Although for a long time afterwards, we were both worried about which one of us might turn out to be a serial killer. I guess my point is, be careful how you begin your relationships with people. Thank you.
Nice.
Gotta love that moralistic ending there after wire being used to cut people. So awesome. So I think what we'll do now is get right into our voting. I'm going to make this 7 seconds per person just to get things moving along. And then we'll do just one question per person and one, and then they'll throw their links in or throw your links in while we're asking the question, guys, just so we can get everyone out on time as well. All right, so let's see here. Melissa Reaves, Sean, off to you.
All right, let's do Melissa Reaves voting. Here we go. And they start flying in. Give me a little more time than you think I need, Aditya. You know I'm a little bit slow. Like, you know that. I didn't want to make that public, but I just did.
Cool. And just remember, you're going to be sending it directly to Sean and not to everybody. Now we're going to jump off to Jeff Baltes, who is our second teller. Everyone throw in your votes for Jeff. All right. Moving to our next teller was Bob Dancer. Everyone get your votes in for Bob. Sending it directly to Sean. And then lastly was Jay, who just told you his story. So everyone send Sean their votes for Jay. All right, Sean. Looks like you've got some of the votes there. During the next stories and the next break and stuff, we can let you do some of the averaging and stuff like that as well. But yeah, so Stephanie, do you want to, in the interest of time, go ahead and both just kind of do a back-to-back of Jeff Baltes and Jay Rohr?
I do.
Off
Jeff
you go.
Baltes, where are you, buddy?
Hey, hello.
Hi, Jeff. Jeff, tell us about your quirkiest quirk.
Oh dear God. I'm just thinking of I'm just thinking of injuries now.
Give us the best one.
There's injury stories. Holy shit! My chin is fake. I have a fake chin. It's an entirely different story. Oh, sometimes I make noises like a motorcycle. If you heard that, no.
You have a fake chin. That your whole chin has like been reconstructed.
No, it's caulk. It's been caulked in. Yep. So it was yeah, that part right there. Yeah.
It looks really good.
Well, thank you.
If we probably all agree. And then Jeff, so how did you become a storyteller in 15 seconds or less?
And then throw your link in the social, and we'll move to the next.
Cool. Living in Columbus, someone brought me onto a stage one night to the only storytelling thing in Ohio, really, and said, "Here, go up and do it. And I caught it ever since.
Thank you. All right, throw your stuff in the socials. Jay, how you doing? You're my partner. You're my neighbor. We live like 5 minutes away from each other, just outside of Chicago. Jay, tell us about your best trait, your best attribute.
My best attribute, I have to say, is that I can find the humor in just about any situation. But more importantly, I know when to express it. Like, I'll make you laugh at your parents' funeral, but not while you're crying. You know, like, I know when to bring it up.
That was awesome.
We got to hang sometime, Jay. Thank you.
Sure.
Jay, throw your stuff in the social. And Sean, if you want to interview Melissa and
I
Bob.
love Melissa. Who's my other person?
I
Bob
love you
Dancer.
too.
Oh, Melissa and Bob back to back. Are you friggin' kidding me?
One question.
I only get one question?
As per your own requirements, since you
Oh,
need to
no,
leave by 9.
Two questions. Melissa, is it true that the coffee in Seattle is better than other places?
Yes.
All right. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. That was very clear. 2, how do we know each other?
We met in a Matthew Dix workshop.
Dun, dun,
and,
dun.
Yeah, and you blew me away, and you seemed to like my story, and now we're friends. And you blow me away at how many shows you can produce. It's amazing.
Yeah, I get a lot of help. We get help. And I have no job. I don't have anything else to do. So it's actually absurd if I didn't do this many, if not more. All right, I think he has to let me talk. I'd love to talk longer, but I can tell when he's getting angry. So, hey, Bob Dancer.
Hey.
What's up with your name, seriously?
It's a pseudonym. I'm a professional gambler, and when I moved from blackjack into video poker, I knew people got kicked out of casinos for playing too well, and I knew I was good at video poker. So I thought I'd change my name, and that would work. And they know who I am, and I used to dance a lot, still do.
Little country, right?
Country western, square dancing, a few other things.
Not a bad place to meet the ladies, I'm told.
It is better doing that than being a professional gambler. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, for damn sure. All right, I actually could talk to you for a long time too, but again, I could see Aditya getting upset. So thanks very much. Good story.
Thank you.
It's very amusing being bad cop. I never in the wildest dreams thought that would be my role, Sean.
Yes.
But thanks, Bob. Thanks, everyone. That was a great round 3. I think we did that in 15 minutes, which tells me we can do the next one in the same amount of time in the interest of getting to our final round and powering through that. At the end of this round, I'll be sending some links in, which is effectively just, if you guys wanted to donate a certain amount or wanted to support the book project of Cheese Dosa, 50% of those earnings will go towards the winner's charity of their choosing as well. So more on that later, but wanted to start group 4 now with Julie Baker. Please come to the stage. Let me go ahead and spotlight your video so that everyone can see your very well decorated room, and ready when you are.
Okay, I just want to make sure I see Steph, if she's the one who's doing the timing.
Steph, let her know you're good if you're good.
There you are. Great, okay. His Match.com profile headline said, "My hand on the small of your back." I was not disappointed when I met him for our first date. He was tall, he worked out, but not so much that it made me feel bad for skipping Zumba class. He had a nice smile. I could tell he brushed and flossed regularly. He told me that I was prettier than my profile pictures, and he immediately asked me out on a second date. Our second date was at the movies. We shared an armrest and played with each other's fingers, and he walked me out to the car and went in to kiss me goodnight, and there was tongue, but not too much tongue, and he held me close but didn't grind against me, but I could tell he wanted to, which was also nice. He called me to ask me on the third date, and he told me that he had tickets to see the Rolling Stones at Fenway Park. Of course. He said, but it needed to be tentative because he had actually bought the tickets with his ex-girlfriend. And even though they weren't dating anymore and he was pretty sure she wouldn't want to go, he felt like he needed to check with her first. I was fine with that because I knew he was my next boyfriend. So I went to Marshall's and I bought an outfit. I got a babysitter and I waited. The day before the concert, he calls me up and he tells me, oh, I'm going with the ex-girlfriend and we're getting back together. Fast forward 5 years, I'm back on Match.com. Larry reaches out to me, winks at me, which is how you like somebody. And he tells me that, wants to know what my status is. I must be single. I said, yeah, you? He says, well, I'm dating someone and it might be serious, but we had chemistry. So I thought maybe you might be interested in a friends with benefits situation. I said, yeah, I'm nobody's plan B anymore, Larry.
Boom.
All right. That was unexpected, Julie. All right.
In our lives, just saying.
But powering through, I think we have a lot to unpack there as well during the Q&A. But on to our next teller, Mary, who's showing up as Scary Joe. Going ahead and spotlighting you. And unmute yourself, Mary, and ready when you are.
Mary Joe. You always forget the Joe. Okay.
Always.
Always. But ready when you are, Mary. Joe.
It's the summer of 1969, between my junior and senior years in college, and my longtime friend Carla and I decide to go to Los Angeles for the summer. I've never been there. She wants to take a couple classes at UCLA, and I figured I'll just go along and I'll temp or just do something. We get an apartment right next to UCLA, and we meet a bunch of other kids from all over the country that had similar ideas. And we all bond and start hanging out together all summer. Suddenly, one day, somebody comes home and says that they got a bunch of tickets to go see Hair at the Aquarius Theater. Who's in? We were all in. And we dropped acid and went down to the Aquarius Theater, and we were there a couple of hours early because we were tripping. And so we were milling about the parking lot with everybody else milling about the parking lot. And suddenly Carla and I in the distance see this apparition appear of our friend from grade school and high school, Lynn Baker, with flowers in her long blonde hair, and she's carrying a bouquet of daisies. She walks over to us and we say, Lynn, are you going to see the play tonight too? And she said, no, I'm in it. And you guys should come up on stage at the end of the show. And so we did. And there were a lot of naked people on stage too.
Boom.
Love it. Boom.
She'll end the damn story wherever she wants to.
Exactly. No rules. No rules. And with 90 seconds, sometimes it's not going to be, and what I learned was it's going to be someone's going to be naked.
Oh, it's sometimes a romp and it's fun or funny. And you know what? We don't always need that change, right?
Agreed. So moving on to our next. Sorry.
Sorry, she did it exactly in 90 seconds. Exactly.
Ooh. Wow. Just dunking.
Wow.
Just dunking.
You're professional.
Yeah. Message received, Mary Jo. All right. So next on our list is Miss Catherine Dean, who is, let me try to find her little video. Sean, do you see her or am I going crazy?
I will look for Kat Dean. She was here. I didn't
Okay.
get, I think she is. She's on the top right of my screen, but
Nope, I see her. Yep, we're good. Kat, ready when you are, and you're on mute at the moment.
Am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. When I was 15 years old, I lived next to the most perfect boy in the world, Tom. He was a year older than me, had dark hair, almost black, and blue, blue eyes. Mesmerizing. And it was only a matter of time before he noticed me because he lived right next door to me. Or rather, it would be a matter of time before he noticed me if I didn't hide every time he walked by. I was kind of shy. In fact, probably you'd call it awkward with boys. But I had this dream inside my heart that someday he would see my soul for what it was and fall deeply in love with me. And my chance came one day when I was walking to my friend Stacy's house. A car pulled up beside me. It was Tom. He'd just gotten his license. How hot is that, right? He said, "Hey, you're Kat, right? We go to school together, don't we?" Like, do we go to school together? I mean, like, I didn't watch him every day, 5 days a week, walk to school. But all I said was, and he kept smiling and he says, "Hey, do you want to ride somewhere?" At that point, my mind clicks in and I feel my face turn beet red and my heart starts pounding. And I lean over and scream in his face, "No, go away. I like walking." He stopped smiling and then he drove away. Adolescence is indeed the best time of our life, isn't it?
Ooh-wee. All right. Thank you, Kat.
Just for those that anyone out there who was wondering, that is how we roll in North Carolina. Okay, that is how we roll.
This is an amazing, nonpartisan judge over here. All right, and so next, and I believe, second to last, is we know her as EBK, or at least I keep calling her that in spite of her protestations otherwise. But Elena-Beth Kaye, this I did want to mention, just because of how ragtag we put together this many storytellers in what was just less than a week, we'll be doing an entire spotlight on just EBK about everything, her entire background, etc. We'll be putting in the Facebook post. It was something we're going to offer to the winner as well. But EBK, you're getting all of the love, and sorry for some of the balls that were dropped along the way. Ready when you are.
She was so much bigger than me and handed down this baby doll, Tiny Tears, a gift to make up for the fact that my baby brother was coming home from the hospital and they were afraid I'd drop him if I held him. I was 1.5 years old when he was born, so this has to be my earliest memory. So I was always his big sister, and I always knew I was supposed to take care of him. But he was always so different from me and from everyone else. And sometimes I couldn't help him at all. Like at the dinner table when Daddy said to him, "If you don't eat the food by the time I count to 10, you are getting the strap. 1, 2. And my brother's way of dealing was just to go away. And he'd get hit and then the countdown would begin again. And I'd yell, "Just take a bite." But he would just sit there catatonic until finally he moved only to run to the bathroom and vomit into the bathtub. And sometimes I could help him, like when I went after him undercover into the cult of the Moonies. But that's another story. Whether I could help him or not, whether I was happy to or resentful, I've never just been me. I've always been my brother's keeper. And that's really what was handed to me that day.
And I think that definitely was under 90.
I timed it, so it was just...
Perfect. Awesome. So I think we've got our last teller of the competition section. By the way, the reason we're kind of rushing through this is because we want to get through the competition on time. But just know that if anyone has any desire to tell a 90-second story, we're going to be doing that in an open tell afterwards. So we're going to have lots of people. If you've got an itch to scratch or you wanted to tell your second story anyway, maybe you didn't make it to the finals, etc. We're going to have lots of opportunities for that. I'm here for as long as you guys need to be, and so is this Zoom chat for that. But I believe that brings us to our final teller. Guys, we've powered through. I think it was almost 20 tellers. And so coming to you strong is Silvana. And let me get you spotlighted. So is it Silvana Clark?
Silvana, that's right.
Silvana. I like it. Ready when you are, and I'm going to mute myself so we don't get any echoes.
It's 4:30 in the morning and I'm feeding my 6-month-old daughter. She's healthy. My life should be a Hallmark commercial. And then I feel this whoosh over my head and I turn on a night lamp and there's a bat on my daughter's curtain. And I scream then because I see a pool of blood inside her ear. And the only explanation can be that a bat with rabies has been sucking blood out of my little baby. Now, 30 years ago, there was no Google to help you. So my husband called 911. They transferred us to someone at the health department who said we have to kill the bat, but keep the brain intact in order to test it for rabies. And the health department guy said, get the bat in a large mason jar. Put the jar in front of your exhaust of your car and turn on the car. And in 20 seconds, the bat will be dead. And then he says, meet me in 20 minutes at the Greyhound bus station. We have to get that bat to Seattle to be tested. Your daughter's life is at stake. Well, my husband runs into the nursery with a mason jar, and I hear crashing and banging until he comes out and he triumphantly holds up this jar with the bat inside and he says, I've got this. I wait 5 minutes and the car isn't leaving. So I go down to the garage and he's crouched down by the exhaust holding this jar with the bat over it, and the bat is alive, and he says, it won't die. And then his face lights up and he says, wait, we'll nuke it in the microwave. Which he does. He gets to the bus station in time and the bat is sent off. And waiting for the results seems like an eternity. But like all Hallmark commercials, it has a happy ending and there were no rabies. And if any of you are curious, it takes 8 seconds to kill a bat in the microwave.
Thank you. Thank you for what also seems like a recipe as well as an amazing story. That was great. Now we're going to roll straight into our voting. We're going to try to go as fast as possible.
Okay.
Take some DOSA-related recipes in there as well. Sorry, what's that, Sean?
No, it's okay. So, yeah. So Julie's first. Here we go.
Yep, so Julie Baker is first. Everyone send Sean Wellington, specifically, your votes for her. All right. And
Wait,
Sean, you now have...
2 more seconds. 2 more seconds.
You need a few more? Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
EBK, just letting us know, instead of just Sean, just giving the love to everyone.
All right, cool.
All right, so next up is... there's the reaction I was expecting from her. But yeah, so, and then next up is... is
Mary Jo.
Mary Jo. Scary Joe.
No. The reason why it's taking me a little longer is it'll scroll up really quickly, and it's a little tricky for me, so bear with me.
Yep. These are all learnings that we're getting here.
Somebody wants the window to be adjusted. I'm not sure if the window can be adjusted. All right, we're good. So next up is Kat.
Yeah, actually, so Richard, you can do that yourself. You just go to that border and you can drag it. Yep. So the next is Kat Dean. Third speaker in group 4. Votes to Sean. Oh, true. Yeah, Richard was actually looking out for you, Sean.
Was he?
Yeah, by expanding that, it might mean less.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Richard always looks out for me, man. Why am I getting aggressive?
I'm not sure. You're supposed to be good cop. All right. And so now, and then, so then we did Kat, and now EBK, aka Elena-Beth Kaye.
These people, they're going ahead, these people. Guys, don't put Silvana's score in there. It makes it really tricky for me. Just put Elena-Beth's in there, please.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Yeah, this one was a confusing one. We had 5 in this particular round. So.
Yeah,
Yep. All right. I think that's plenty of time now. And then finally, Silvana's scores next.
Finally, Silvana. Okay.
Sweet. Sweet. So, Sean, I'm going to let you figure out whenever you want to do that. What we'll do now between, so start not only tallying that first, Sean, but also the average scores for everyone, etc. Think that through. What we're going to do now is take a break. If anyone wants to go take a biological break and things like that, if you want as well. But what we're going to do, for those of you who maybe can stick around, is we're going to have a quick Q&A as well as a singing opportunity from Steph at Story Jam. Steph, before you even start singing, tell me why would anyone in their right mind combine storytelling and singing at the same time? And does Story Jam have anything to do with that?
Well, Story Jam is more fun when we write an original song for each story. So we gather up all the coolest storytellers we can find in Chicago. And then usually I write an original song for each story. It's super fun.
That's very cool. And so is there like a band? Do you have like a proper musical stage at Story Jam? How does that work?
Yeah, we've got a big stage. We've got a 10-piece band, bass, drums, guitar, keys, sax, trumpet, sax, violin, and then we usually have like 4 or 5 singers on stage. It's pretty fun. It's a lot of energy.
How is Chicago like this place of storytelling and comedy? Like, how did this all happen in Chicago specifically?
Chicago is a hub for storytelling primarily because of the improv scene. So Second City is stationed in Chicago, as its main headquarters is in Chicago, and they're pretty much the epicenter of improv and improv performance. There's a strong comedy scene and there's a strong acting theater scene here. So I think the dovetailing of those 3 things made for ripe ground, fertile ground for storytelling.
That's awesome. Well, I don't want to interrupt any further what we're about to witness, so I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm going to spotlight you.
Can you see me? I don't even know if anybody can see me. All my lights are off, but I want to do a song. I'm going to do a 90 seconds of a song. And whoever can name the tune and name the artist and the year it was released, that person wins a Story Jam T-shirt.
Go!
So the first person who can get this. Okay, ready? I gotta get my mic set up here. I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? God is hell. Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling God is hell. Ooh, child, tired of the bullshit. Gotta dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new shit in there. Swimwear, going to the bullshit. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you don't have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out the door and do your hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling good as hell. Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling good as hell.
Oh, damn, though.
Maybe a little bit more than 90 seconds. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We weren't timing you. I got lost. I got lost in that.
Okay,
Very cool. I don't know. Let's see here. There were a bunch that came in at 8:50. I want to make sure. Sean, what you got?
What are we looking for? You want winners?
Name
Yeah, just the first person that responded.
Oh, hang on. I didn't know it was just coming to me.
Well, I just want to see what's in the chat. I think
The
Elena
first one-
said things are going to get easier, but
Melissa-
I think that was incorrect.
Is that right? Things are going to get easier? No. Lizzo was right. Melissa Danielson. Does she need to know the name of the song? Good as hell, Kat Dean. Good as hell.
The name of the song is Good as Hell.
Catherine Dean. This is how we roll in North Carolina, people.
What, I want a shirt?
Show a little enthusiasm and some respect for our people in Chicago, would you?
No, I never win.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I wanted to defer and not hand Melissa Danielson the win, since that is my wife, and I wanted to make sure that there was no partisanship at all. So congratulations, Kat. Maybe next time, Mel, and amazing job, Steph. We're going to learn much more about Story Jam, etc., as soon as we plug through our finals round. Sean, how do we feel about announcing who's moving on to
I need about 45 more seconds. So
Perfect. Keep
magic.
going. What I'm going to do and throw in the chat is a couple of links. So link number 1 is an easy enough link, which is just this here. And again, there's no pressure. This was a free show, guys. We're not trying to make it awkward for anybody. This isn't like a pyramid scheme we're trying to sign you up for or a timeshare. But feel free to PayPal this. All of the proceeds of whatever you happen to give towards this will go towards the winner's charity of their choosing. And then in a second link, let me get this off to you in a moment. So I have to create a specific link so I can track this. But while I'm looking for this, I'll just kind of explain kind of what's going on in general. But basically, final show. This is the final show that I've been putting on for this cheese dosa experiment. There was a Kickstarter that I started in June 20, where we basically tried to take some of the stories I do and turn them into a book, which is to say we didn't go to a publisher. We didn't try to get the approval of anyone, just got together, friends and family, this storytelling thing that I've been doing for a while, and physically turned them into a book. And so you've got the actual physical book here as well, which is to say that it'll be made for you, stitched for you, signed for you, printed for you, and all of them will be these sort of dorky cheese dosa tales. So then, let's see here. So now that you have those, 50% of any of the amount that you put towards the book will also go towards the Winner's Circle charity of their choosing. And so because I'm kind of all over the place, what we'll do now is interview our final 5 speakers as Sean kind of works through some more of that voting. Steph, I think there's a couple of people, at least one, that happen to be people that you certainly could interview. Did you want to start with maybe Julie Baker?
I definitely want to start with Julie Baker. Julie Baker!
Steph!
When did you lose your virginity?
Oh, my 17-year-old son is standing in the kitchen, so I won't be answering that question.
I have another question for you, Julie. What do you do in your spare time when you're not working and when you're not storytelling?
I kayak and paddleboard on the Boston Harbor.
Nice.
Thank you.
Okay. That was painless.
It's supposed to be 7 seconds, right?
Okay. Great.
That was fantastic. Awesome. So Sean, let's see here. If you're, are you still plugging away, or how are we looking?
I'm good.
Okay, cool. So there is a whole host of some of your close friends that are waiting to be interviewed. We've got Mary Jo, Kat Dean, EBK, and Silvana.
Mary Jo, who is your favorite online personality?
By online, how online do you mean? Like Netflix online?
Yeah. Well, yeah, online. Who's someone? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say you are Sean.
I was actually hoping for. Thank you. Let us talk more about me then. So real quick, what do you like about living most in Tucson, Arizona? Only one thing for this moment. Only one thing.
I like that a lot of my friends also live here, and its proximity to places I like to go.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing that. And you lost your virginity. No, we won't. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. That's a step.
I did lose it. Yeah, you're right.
Lose it? Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Good. All right. Who's up next in this absurd interviewing thing?
Sean, you got Kat Dean.
Kat Dean, North Carolina. Hey, Kat.
Hold on. Hey.
Kat, what is so great about the triangle, damn it, that we're both here?
Well, I'm here because all my stuff is here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to live near all my stuff and my belongings. So,
what's something that people would be very likely to be surprised about you?
That I am a big martial arts enthusiast. That's really the thing I like to do.
Final question. Do you think it's reasonable that because that picture behind you is slightly askew, it's really bothering me? Is that a normal, fair?
My picture's askew?
Tiny bit from my angle.
Then fix your computer.
That's a fair response. That's it. I didn't know what I was going to get. Yeah. Fix your fucking computer, Sean. Good.
All right, Sean.
Okay, cut me off. The cane has come out.
EBK.
That's you.
Hey. So, and it's Elena-Beth Kaye, not Elena-Beth Kaye, though everyone has said Elena since I was 6. But
Elena.
thank you.
Who's speaking with Elena? Is it Sean again? Oh, hey, Elena.
Hi.
Yes.
How do you go about choosing your, I'm calling it a backdrop. I don't know what it's, the thing behind you. How do you, what goes into that?
Oh, it depends what I'm wearing and who. If there's a theme, like I went to India, so I had India background when I was at the wonderful Dosa show. It just seemed plain enough because it was one pattern, but still fun.
Mm-hmm. Do you smile a lot in your life?
I do. I remember when I was 16, someone said to me, "Oh, you're not going to keep smiling when you get older."
Oh, man.
And I was like, well, let's see. So, yeah, it's when I was a teenager, I remember thinking, wow, if I smile at someone and they don't smile at me, it can hurt my feelings, but I'm not going to let that stop me.
Good. Final question. Do you like having a hyphenated name?
I do. Yes.
That's a fairly straightforward answer. Yes. It's a yes, no.
Named after my grandmother, Elizabeth, but my mom had to be different.
Thank you. Good
Awesome.
story. Yeah.
Sean, I think this is a little bit of a moment of truth that we're going to have now. I think we're going to find out who are the 4. Right. We missed Silvana. Sorry, I forgot we had 5 people this round. Go ahead, Sean.
That's you. Is that me? Oh, all right. I actually wanted to talk about Silvana. I really only have one question for you, Silvana. Where are you?
I'm in Bellingham, which is north of Seattle.
Oh, I meant on my Zoom screen, but either way, yeah.
Oh,
I want to know what it feels like when you go to a moth, let's say the DC moth, for example, and you end up finding out that I'm in it. You don't know me at the time. And then you find out that you tied for first, which thereby means I didn't. How does that make you feel?
You know what is frustrating about that DC experience? When it comes time to vote, I admit I was going to vote for myself and I pushed the wrong key thing and it went in. So I would have actually won, but if my vote had gone in and I just pushed something, I didn't push submit. So anyway, that's it. But I'll compete against you some other time.
I really enjoyed your story. One other thing, I asked Melissa, who lives out in Seattle, is Bellingham a similar climate to Seattle, or is it different?
Yes, Bellingham is known as the city of subdued excitement. So there you go.
I think that's the perfect place to end it, Aditya, before we announce the scores, yeah?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Silvana. I got, Aditya, I'm just going to roll with this. I've got 4 people who scored 9 or above. Those are the 4 people that will go on to the final round. I do want to say, and anybody who knows me knows that I don't like, I don't blow smoke up people's asses. There were a lot of people that were like 8.8 something, a couple with like 8.9. It was super close. In no order. It doesn't matter, Aditya, right? The order, 4 is 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. One of our finalists, if he's still with us, is Kwong. Can we confirm that he's still here? Because we do have a runner-up if he did not.
Oh yeah, that's true. This can be like if you can't accept your Miss Universe tiara, we will go to the next person. So congrats, Kwong.
Thank
Kwong,
you.
Kwong's here. Another of our finalists is Richard Munchkin. Our third finalist this evening is Jay. I believe he's in Chicago. Is Jay in Chicago? Where's Jay? Or Jersey?
Chicago area.
And our fourth finalist, who had a 9 as well. And if you want to be the person, if you want to know if you're the person with like the 8.925 and came like 1 vote away, let me know. But I won't let you know. Our fourth person is Kat Dean. Whoa.
Catty Dean. All right. So congratulations, everyone. What's
Great
really
job,
important about this is how deeply arbitrary things get at those kind of margins that Sean's talking about. That does mean that anyone who scored a 9 and above is clearly doing something right. Anyone who's scoring under 9 can just remember that this is like extremely arbitrary. There's a lot of different people. There's 90 seconds. This event itself kind of has its weird ebbs and flows. So don't worry about any of that. And remember, if you had your second story and you just want to tell it, we have an open tell, guys. This is more about just learning about your stories, learning about you, etc. What's up, Sean?
I want to say to people, please, if they can stay on after we have our finals, to please share their second stories. We'll make it quicker, this part, because all that other stuff is done. I'd like to hear them. I love this format, and I want to learn more about it. I also want to say, I think it looks like I have 4 people that had over an 8.9. Just so that's how like it could have gone so close. Just so you know.
I think you lost half of the audience at decimals anyway, but appreciate it, Sean. Thanks for doing the numbering. That was yeoman's work.
I never want to do that again. I'll do time. I don't want to do that again because it's affecting me on some sort of emotional level. I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah, I can see the joy sapped from your face. Okay, so we've got our 4. Why don't we just roll right into this? You guys already know the format here. No more interviews. What's up, Sean? You got your finger up again.
Well, real quick, I don't want to be a pain in the ass. Everybody else, if you can stay, you're voting on the final 4. And just quick, Aditya, do you want to do the exact same format of 7, 8, 9, 10? Same thing?
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
Great.
So I think let's bring up to the stage the person who we haven't seen in a while, since I think he was in group 1.
Yeah.
Let's bring up Kwong to the stage.
All right, thank you. Straight into it, right? Okay. I'm 27 years old and I'm visiting New York City for the very first time in my life. I'm exploring the city and I'm going via subway. And as I'm on the subway, I look in the corner and there's a man staring at me diagonally from where I'm sitting. I look around and I look at him, he looks to the ground. When I look away, he looks back up at me. He's wearing tattered clothes, ripped jeans, he's got dirty hair and his shoes are filthy. And I'm starting to get really scared because I've watched enough Law and Order on TV and enough CSI to know that the subway is where you get murdered or mugged or killed in New York. I look to my left, I look to my right, and there's no one near me. I am the only target. The train starts to slow down. He stands up and he starts walking towards me. I hold onto my bag really tightly. I try not to make eye contact. He stands in front of me and he drops a piece of paper in my lap and walks off the subway. I look up at him, he turns around and he smiles. I unravel the piece of paper and it's a sketch of my face. And I never knew how ugly I looked. But I realized that New York is indeed just like the TVs. It's beautiful, it's mysterious, and it's also magical. Thank you.
It's almost like he knew one of the judges was from the New York area.
It's almost like he knew.
That was fantastic.
Done.
So good. So good.
Thunder, man. They bring the heat. Oh, man. Nice job. Nice job.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep my compliments, quiet, but for the finalists, you're getting compliments from all of me. You've managed to scrape through a gauntlet of almost 20 people. So it's just going to be all love from the judges at this point. Thank you so much, Kwong. Sean, who should we call up next?
I think it's up to you.
Oh, wait. I think we'll do the voting after everyone tells their stories. I think that still makes sense.
All right.
As a model.
So let us bring. So let's do it in the order. It's been how long? Is it Richard or?
I think Richard went before anyone else.
Yeah, Richard should go next. That makes the most sense.
A movie about an actress at breakfast.
You can hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. And you're spotlighted, ready to go when you are.
I am sitting at breakfast with Charlene Tilton. She's everything I want to be. She is a working actress and she is a bona fide star. 10 years earlier, the #1 show in America was called Dallas, and she was on that show for 7 years. She's been on the cover of dozens of magazines, and we're working on the same movie together, and now we're at breakfast together. But before I can say anything to her, the waitress comes up and goes, "Oh my God, Charlene, Cherish, is she now at Mountain View?" And suddenly the waitress is talking to her about Charlene's daughter and what school she had to move to. And then she says, "Oh, your mother, I heard she's at Sinai's. Is it her heart problem again?" And now they start talking about Charlene's mother and her heart condition. And after a few minutes of this, finally I say, "Look, I'm sorry, but we have to be on the set of this movie. We really need to order." And the waitress says, "Oh, I'm sorry." And she takes our order and she leaves. And I say to Charlene, "How do you know that woman?" And Charlene says, "I've never seen her before in my life." I said, "She knows your daughter's name and what school she's going to. She knows your mother is in what hospital and her health problems." And Charlene says, "Yeah, happens all the time. They read it in the tabloids." And that was when I realized that if that is what fame is, I want no part of it. Thank you.
Under time.
The Richard voice alone.
Yeah, the voice.
So good.
Headset. Everything.
Yep.
It's not an accident that these guys are in the final. Come on.
Agreed.
Come on.
Agreed.
2 really strong stories and 2 more to go. And I believe next up, I'm echoey, aren't I? Hate that. Mr. J in Chicago is going to be our third storyteller, our third finalist. J Dog.
Ready when you are. You're spotlighted.
So I'm on my way home, and I'm living in Chicago, in the city proper at the time, not the burbs like I do now. And my mind is on projects. There's work that has to be done, so I'm taking a shortcut to get home, cutting down the alley. And there's this small, tiny woman walking towards me. And as she passes me, she looks up at me, and I look down at her, and then she whips out a can of pepper spray and hoses me down with it. And it was about the time that I started handing her, or at least trying to hand her, my wallet, that she realized I was not going to attack her, that she had panicked. And I saw her run away in a blur, and I stumbled back to my apartment, where I got in the shower and discovered that pepper spray wears off after a little while, but then will be reactivated by water. And the stuff that gets stuck in your hair and your forehead, because it's a sort of syrupy substance, will leak back down into your eyes, burning them once more, and you'll find yourself falling all over your shower, wet, naked, terrified, and in pain. And the thing is, whenever I tell people this story, they have one of 2 reactions. Either someone will say, "Oh, fuck that bitch. What the hell was her problem?" Or other people will say, "I wonder what happened to her in her life that made her so afraid of people that that was her instinctual reaction to somebody." And I find that that possibility, that prospect, is way more terrifying than what happened to me. Thank you.
What is happening here, Aditya?
This is
Damn. Okay.
this is television right here. I'm glad we're recording this.
This is interesting. Three really different stories.
Absolutely.
I love that. Yeah.
Good luck, judges. I'm glad we're not judging, or at least not exclusively. So I think we're off to our last one. What do you say, Sean?
Kat Dean, representing North Carolina. I am completely impartial. Take it away, Kat.
Okay, let's see, unmute. Sorry, that's hard act to follow those guys. Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm 19 years old and I'm on my first international flight. I've just gotten to my seat when I realized that several rows in front of me is none other than downtown Julie Brown of MTV fame, from when the M in MTV meant music. Now, this was awesome because surely sometime during this flight, I was going to cross paths with her. We were going to have a chat. I'd say, hey, haven't I seen you someplace before? And we'd probably be friends in no time. And that would be great. What a great Christmas this was going to be. But hours later, after turbulence and crying babies, and an old guy about 30 years old who kept using my shoulder as a pillow, I had not yet met downtown Julie Brown, and I thought everything in the world sucked. Thank God the plane had landed, and I was already standing in line so that the minute they opened that door, I could bolt. But then I realized, hey, I'm actually standing right next to Julie now in her row. And she was looking as miserable as I was, presumably because some old guy had been using her as a pillow all night. So she doesn't look at me. And then suddenly she jumps up and without even a glance in my direction, takes her bag and tries to wedge it in front of me to break in front of me. And you know what? If you're going to break in front of me on a plane, you have to be nice to me. I decided no. So I swung my bag back at her. And then she looked me right in the eye and gritted her teeth a little bit and pushed me back with her bag. And we went back and forth for a few minutes until finally I won and she fell back into her seat. So my first brush with fame was actually a wrestling match.
Boom.
I didn't know, Sean, that like people would. Let me remove the spotlight here. But I didn't know that people would like. Do you think people saved their best? I guess we can ask during the Q. Well, no more Q&As for time's sake.
Big question.
Did they save their bests for last, or how did that work? Why don't we tally up the votes and we'll dive into some of these more deeper philosophical questions.
Can we clarify, the voters are voting for the second story only, not the combination of the two stories?
Right.
Okay.
That's right. Like any good jury, you need to now exclude all of the evidence from whatever happened before, and only on the merits, and in Richard's case, only on the good looks alone of the tellers are you going to be deciding who wins this particular.
A couple people are sending me all of the scores at once. It's really hard.
Oh yeah, let's get everyone stop sending scores.
So right now,
Kimbo.
if you send anything into the chat, it doesn't count.
Correct.
Only send Kwong scores, please. Only. Okay, starting with that one. Great. Thank you. We're going to take our time here. We have to make absolutely sure.
Okay. Seems like you could stick around then, Sean.
Mike, oh man, there's a story there. For real. But that's like a weird thing to say and then like not tell the story.
What do
you
you
can
get
do it in
if
90
you
seconds.
What do you get if you win?
That's a good point, because there's a fair amount of things going to the winner. Isn't that right, Steph?
Lots of
Steph,
things.
why don't you talk a little bit about what you're proposing?
Well, I have proposed that the winner should get the pride and sense of accomplishment that comes with winning as the preliminary prize.
Bullshit.
But besides that, I think, I'm hearing echoes. Besides that, I think that winner deserves to have their video spotlighted on our social media for the three of us, Sean, Addie, and myself. We all have our shows and we're all producers of shows and producers of things, and we are going to spotlight you, your social media, and your video on our social media throughout the week. So we thought that would be a good non-material prize. So get your websites up and running. or get your website. It's only one person, really, right?
There's going to be one actual winner, right? We're all winners. We know we're all winners.
Maybe we
Everybody's
can
a winner.
maybe we'll make sure there's a second, third, and fourth prize as well. But
Well, yeah. So as far as the people who've made it into the finals as well, just want to first of all congratulate you guys as well. Just know that you've done an amazing job to get through to this. And what we'll also probably be doing, I think, while there's so many things we could have improved about this format, I think the 90-second telling of the stories and just the sheer amount of people that we got to hear stories from, there's something there for sure. And I think what we'll be doing for the people that made it through the finals is at least thinking of a way of when we have a really organized version of this with a lot of lead time, how to kind of spotlight you guys, maybe feature performances, or if you want to compete in it, maybe an opening act, closing act, something to that effect as well. I'm also really big on the value of giving back to this community. I've been thinking a lot about the story, The Giving Tree, where if you already aren't familiar with it, just like Google it. It's not particularly long. But the basic idea is of a person who just keeps taking from things. And I feel like as storytellers, you might get lost in thinking that, hey, am I actually, like, what am I providing to the community rather than just going up, telling stories, winning competitions and stuff like that, and then moving on to the next one? Really want there to be an element of like being able to teach. So whether it's the winner or one of the finalists or anyone that spoke today, if you guys are interested in maybe being part of some sort of group that is teaching people this, in that scenario, it's going to be a lot of time, et cetera. So there might be a financial compensation involved for that for sure. But basically, if we are helping bring up more storytellers, it's something Steph has been doing a lot. It's something Sean just does automatically. I don't think he calls it like a class or anything, but it's effectively, we've got two amazing teachers in this room already, and I would love to help amplify that and love for you guys to have a platform to give back to the community as well. So that sounds very vague, but we'll kind of power through it and figure out what makes the most sense for the winner or for the finalists as well.
Guys,
in terms
let
of
me cut you off here real quick, just for the sake. So I'm not announcing the winner yet, Steph, because we've only counted the votes for one person. I don't know what the hell they do in Chicago, but where I'm now,
good point. Let's move on and get these scores, and then we can wax philosophical about the
time
giving
in
tree.
which you want to drag it out just a little bit. Now, I have 28 people here, and I have like 11 people for Kwong. So if you want to give me your vote for Kwong, I'll give you like 10 more seconds. If you've not voted,
No more seconds. We give them it was like 2 minutes. On to the next.
Richard Munchkin only. God, I can really be a jerk. The shit is close. While I'm getting the scores, I'm telling you. Man, oh man, oh man. Can we at least get more people voting than fewer? I don't know. Am I asking too much here? Okay.
Stop dirtying the pool, Sean.
This is like crazy close. All right.
EBK with the badass background again.
All right, I guess that's it, right? I got nothing else coming in. Man, all right. So that's everybody for Richard. Okay, we've got Jay in Chicago. Richard was in Vegas, by the way. I don't think that affected his scores. All right, anybody else for Jay?
Do 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 do
Move to the next, Sean. We can get more
Right,
stories
last one.
from people that were.
And Kat. Anybody else? Come on, bring it in.
Has been a request, Stephanie, for voting music. Just putting that into the universe for you.
I'm trying to think of what's the most boring song I know.
That's.
I've almost got it. I've almost got it.
I don't think anyone voted. No one wanted boring music. Just whatever song you want.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so here are the final scores. 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, and 9.5 to our winner from Down Under, Kwong Yu Yang Dog.
Oh! Damn, Kwong. And from,
Yes,
from
represented.
forget Australia and China, from group 1, which is crazy.
Wait, was he the first teller?
Not the first, right, Kwong? I think you were, but he was up there.
I was the second or the third person in the first group.
Congratulations, man. Seriously, everybody did a great job. That was awesome.
Guys, great job.
Thank you.
At this point, if some of you need to leave, I know, Sean, it sounded like you had some stuff going on. I didn't want to make, streamers, etc. Awesome job, Kwong. But I think most importantly, I think everyone got to hear a lot of different stories from people from a lot of different backgrounds. I'm sure some of it started to get like, oh my goodness, we're hearing a lot of Q&A, etc. But to me, it's important that everyone who's coming up here is not just like putting in their story. Let's figure out who they are. Where are they from? How can we follow them, etc. So now we can kick off into the portion where it's just an open tell. I'll have the timer out if you guys want it. We'll do a hard cutoff if it's going way past 90 seconds, just because we want to get as many stories as possible. But we're not going to be like too crazy about this at this point. What I did want to do, if you want to message me, just so I can start to, I can give Sean a little break here. I can start to create a little set list. What I'll probably do is put at the top of that list anyone who didn't get to tell a story yet. And then we can start to move into people who might want to tell their second story.
Yes,
of course you have a question. What's up, Sean?
Jeff wants everyone to start telling their stories at the same time, and I think it's a good idea. I mean, we want to just save some time. People have things to do. We're busy. That would be it's like a collage of sorts, right?
I would love to know that when people are all telling their story at the same time, like if Steph could let us know, what note is that? Is it like a C minor? Or what does that become?
Let me hear it.
When I was no one else is following me. Everyone's muted.
That's in A minor, the saddest of all keys.
Aditya, so you make this happen for those that want to stick around and share another 90 seconds.
For sure.
So
So far, I don't have anyone brand new wanting to tell a story. Does that seem patently wrong? If so, shoot me a message. Cool. I think Mary Jo's got one. So Mary, why don't we start with you, and we'll go ahead and start to bring in any
no
new
voting,
people.
just fun. No voting.
Yep, no more voting. Let me spotlight you, Mary Jo, and you can go ahead and get started.
I forgot what story I was going to tell. Wait a sec. Okay. The birthday cupcake express is on its way to your house. I would text to about a dozen people over a 2-day period before my birthday this year. This is what I thought would be a lot of fun and would make me feel good because my planned birthday celebration at the New Orleans Heritage Jazz Festival was canceled. And that particular event is a bucket list item. I told my friends that when I dropped off the cupcakes, they needed to come to the front door once I backed away and look at me and smile or say something, wave, and everybody agreed to do that. I have two dogs fighting in here right now. Sorry about the distraction. Continuing on, it took me 2 days because my friends are really spread out, and everybody said, oh, I'm so glad you did this. This is so nice. And what I didn't expect was I got cards and I got silly little gifts from things people had around the house, and people saying happy birthday. And my one friend who's a professional singer was the only one on key. And I think that this year was the best birthday ever. Sorry about that.
What you all just witnessed,
No, she still ended exactly at 90 seconds. This is wild. How is this possible? Literally, I happen to have fat fingers, but it's like literally showing as 1:31 in spite of it all.
That is your classic, you have an objective and increasing obstacles getting more and more difficult, and yet she found a way to get to the end.
Yeah. I'd like to see how Kwong would do if there was a full-blown interspecies fight going on in front of him. Would he have won in that scenario?
Suggesting
I don't know.
is a super high level, but maybe not if there were outside. He needs a sort of really controlled, stable environment. Come here.
Fantastic. Do we have any other tellers? I know you guys had a bunch of story number 2s.
Jeff, do you have one?
You must.
It's with great pleasure that I'm muting Mary Jo.
Jeff gotta have one. By the way, I'm not sure if the show was actually in the show or in the chat. It's kind of like two shows at once.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's deep.
Wait, what?
Something deep, Sean.
Something slightly cutting and deep?
No, I'm
not
saying
cutting, just deep.
there was a movie going on in the chat.
Yes. Is that a potbelly pig? Live theater. Awesome. Jeff, did you want to regale?
Jeff, he's here.
I'm getting a high five, and
Cool.
I'm muting. Off you go.
All right, ready? 2008. That was the year that we produced more stuff for Obama than we did for the last 3 candidates combined. I'm still going on the button thing. The Democratic Convention we produced more than anything ever, and the Democratic Convention set up this huge operation for us. So I had just graduated from Wright State University, and we hired a bunch of my friends for the week to come in. And one of my friends was a poli-sci major named Charlie. And if he didn't know all about a politician, then he at least knew of them. And throughout the week while we were there were whispers and rumors of which white guy John McCain was going to pick as his running mate for the other side once the convention was over. And Charlie had heard a little bit about this up-and-comer who was way too radical for McCain, but in 4 years, she could make the jump from governor of Alaska. So we were all packing up all of our inventory afterwards, and then we got word. We have breaking news from the Irvin J. Nutter Center at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio, where John McCain has announced his running mate, Sarah Palin of Alaska. What the fuck? Not only had he picked Charlie's nightmare candidate, but he did it at our school. The mood in that warehouse just dropped, and Charlie ran out to do some more research. He came back an hour later with an extra spring in his step and said, guys, I read up on her. This is the best possible thing that could happen. And sure enough, a few months later, Barack Obama was voted into office. We worked at his inauguration, and we never heard anything of Sarah Palin or her movement again.
Nice. We got a lot of Chicago people here tonight, huh?
Damn right we do.
We got several people from Chicago.
Yeah, Jeff, I actually want to, I think my wife has long left. She's in some other room in the apartment, but she is hosting a DNC watch party. I would love for it's our first time trying anything like this, so would love to get some of your advice on how to run one of those. And also, quick shout out to your color schemes. There's some great stuff going on there. We've got the Obama, we got the flag, we've got your shirt. This was
work there.
Is this
This
just
was the
always
DNC
where
in
you
04.
stand and deliver stories, or did you make this set for us?
No,
today?
this is how my apartment is set up, because like
every
these
day.
are wonderful memories.
All
Like,
right,
holy-
then
and
I take back all of my compliments. It
Thank
sounds
you.
it's just like how you live.
Thank you.
For everybody.
No, these are memories, and
Awesome.
Memories.
Harold, I knew that you wanted to tell a story as well. Is that still the case? Are you with us? This photo is so realistic of you that I could be convinced that this is the camera on you right now, Harold. Are you there? All right.
While Harold is, Aditya,
What's
I
up?
want you to notice something. What Jeff does is he shows us his life. We have a window into his real life, right? But with you, I'm wondering, why is it always that there's got to be something, it's like a wall between you and the rest of the world with these backdrops? Jeff,
There
I
we
feel
go. That's what's actually behind me then.
Jeff is honest and vulnerable and real, and I always feel like it's some kind of cute humor with you. I wonder.
Yeah. Well, if you really want to know, there. This is what we're working with.
Yeah, I would switch back probably.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
Oh, actually, I am a big fan of this one. Let's do this one.
Are
There
we in
we
the
go.
same house?
Sir, can we just move on to Kurt? or
You
something?
and Kwong are in the same house, Richard.
Yeah, Kurt, I think you had a second story ready. Am I right in saying that? You're still muted.
All right, you
let's
got
get
me.
him on there.
Oh boy. Here we go. All right, this is the one that comes from the hip. In grade school, walking home, because I was a walker, there was this girl named Susan that I just didn't really notice that she was behind me. Almost every day, it was like my parents would tell me, I think this girl likes you. But I wasn't noticing. I was in like third or fourth grade. I was noticing other things. You know, Susan lived right next door. She was the daughter of Hungarian immigrants. They were named Susan and Gabor. And sometimes Susan's grandmother would come over from Hungary and chop wood in her dress, in her headscarf. But I was, not really noticing Susan, except that she was a really cute girl. She was like 2 years younger, in that she would blush sometimes. But years later, long after we'd moved away from this town, which was called Burlington, Massachusetts, a suburb of Boston, I was visiting my parents, and they had loads and loads of Christmas cards, Christmas letters, and getting updates from old families that we used to know. And I like to go through these things. I like to know what people are up to, no matter what the generation. And so I finally find the Szabo's letter, and I take it out. And in the letter to my mom and dad, there's a picture of a young woman who's a pretty girl, and she is like in a hospital bed with a little baby, and she has that look on her face like she's just fell completely in love, and she's blushing, and I don't really recognize her. And my mother points out that that's actually Susan Szabo, that girl that used to follow you home from like third grade. And I just had this feeling like, that feeling that you have sometimes when you think about people from your past, and you wish, maybe if I'd been a little bit nicer, and actually say this. I give words to this in front of my dad, who's like this sort of tough Boston Irish type, and who, of course, says to me, he points at the picture of Susan with her little baby, and he says, "What? I think she's doing all right for herself now." That's it.
So, Kurt, is this something that you want to do, like at a 90-second story in the future?
How long was it?
2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Oh, good. Should I do another? Wait, I had this other one.
Okay.
Actually, I have a whole book of them. No, I'm just kidding.
You can bring that to the Story Jam 90-second contest next time we do it, which I think will be in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Really?
But you've already heard it in The Cat's Out of the Bag, and you'll be bored. So there are these other ones I'll do, and they'll actually be 90 seconds.
Oh, I'm sure out of the nearly, we should have kept count of how many stories were told today. I mean,
I know. It's been a parade. I thought I was going to get away without telling that story that I never practiced. But hey, thanks for letting me practice.
Yeah, of course. That's what we're all here for. In fact, I'm wondering, assuming that I'm sure there are people in this room. Well, first, let me start with, does anyone else want to tell a story? Harold, did you hear me call you out, by the way, earlier?
I stepped away from the camera here. No, I did not hear you.
I was asking you if you wanted to tell a story today. We're in the open tell portion where anyone who wants to tell a story can just go ahead and stand and deliver. Just remember, it's 90 seconds.
Sure. Okay. I think I have a story.
Yep. I want to make sure the people who didn't get to tell one yet went ahead. So when you're ready.
Okay. So I'm in Boston. Here's my story. A few years ago, I had prostate cancer and I had to have surgery. And as I was preparing for the surgery, my doctor told me, you need to go and make certain that you get some adult undergarments because after the surgery, you're going to be incontinent, having difficulty controlling how I pee. I didn't want anybody to know that I was going to be wearing adult diapers. So I went to a store that was 75 miles away from where I live, 75 miles, so nobody would see what I was doing. I went immediately to the baby diaper section. Wrong place. That's not where they were. I looked around the store. I couldn't find them anyplace. So I found this clerk, and I asked her in the softest voice that I had, where are the male undergarments? And she looked at me, and then in the loudest voice that she had, she said, hey, Martha, she called her friend, where are the diapers for men? I have never been that embarrassed in my whole life. It was even worse than the time that I had to buy condoms for the first time when I was a kid. But nothing happened. The floor didn't open. I didn't fall in. Everything was all right. And I discovered at that moment that I was going to be perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Where was Harold during the contest? Next time you got to get in there.
That was good. That's on me. That's on me. We needed to cap it to at least under 100 tellers for the event. But that was awesome, Harold. Hope I don't know how much of this you caught necessarily of the event, but I think we'll be
I caught the whole event. It was a wonderful event. I caught the whole thing. Awesome. Except for the moment when I walked away when you called my name.
That's perfect. That was great. Since I don't think we've even gotten a chance to hear about you, is there any project or something like that you'd like to highlight that you might be working on?
No, except I know a lot of the folks who are here, Kurt and Julie and Mary, and they're all my colleagues and neighbors, and we kind of hang out in various storytelling places. So it's great to see them.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I definitely feel like an interloper here. It's been a pleasure meeting so many of you guys since COVID.
Chicago and the New England or Boston area seems to have a lot of.
Yeah.
What's happening in those areas?
What's happening?
Security? I don't know.
It's this kind of investigative journalism that it makes us the fourth estate,
Why they're tuning in is for those tough questions. I see Anna down there in Singapore. She's a very gifted storyteller. Anna, you want to share something? Put you on the spot.
Oh, she was trying to fly on the radar. Actually, Kyle's in the room too, and Kyle has been in Matt Dix's class with us.
He was going to share earlier, but he had some traffic. Kyle, get on, man.
Yeah, Kyle.
Get over here, Kyle. Turn your video on. Stop. Unmute yourself. Kyle, we know you're home. We see you.
He says 1 sec. And I just want to tell you the text I got today. It said, is anything good?
That's
Not-
what he wrote?
Not is everything good? It's is anything good?
Very Kyle type of text.
Not from Kyle. That just had nothing to do with anything. I'm just killing time.
That's
Oh,
actually, that's
no.
incredible story stuff, because there's a corollary I have to this of where my wife had been learning Hindi, and anytime I'd feel like really sad about something, she would look at me and say, kuch theek hai, which instead of sab kuch theek hai. So the question changes from, is everything okay? To, is anything okay?
That's awesome.
The entire meeting changes. And so if I go from being in a bad mood to just being thrilled anytime she says that.
Okay.
This
Is
why we-
anything-
This
is
is when we
anything
choose our partners, the way, right? It's a life partner. It's not an accident, man.
It's true.
Kyle, man, let's go. We have been waiting for you for almost 3 hours.
Actually, I wonder, let me put someone else on the spot while we wait for him. If Kirti is still there, that's my mom. No necessarily formal storytelling training, but I'm wondering if she just wants to give a shot at a 90-second, I don't know if she's going to tell a story or just burn me. Let's see what she wants to
I
do.
really hope the latter. I really
Burn.
Oh,
She's coming.
Yeah.
Or she just left altogether.
are you in the dark? What's going on there, Mom?
Mine is not coming. You disconnect?
Is anything?
No, I am. I'm just not getting the video, Eddie.
That's okay. You can, you know.
Ah, there.
There we go.
There we go.
That's Addie's mother.
Yeah, I'm looking down. Hello.
Hey.
Can you
we
see? Can you see?
Yeah, the video's a little messy, but, you know, we can just hear you.
I think that video is not behaving.
That's okay. We can hear you.
Yeah. Is this better?
Yeah.
The video, just
Okay,
don't worry
I
about the video.
Don't.
Just say
90
things.
seconds. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, you know, we're having so much fun here. Yeah, you know, we just enjoy all these sessions and your stories. It's so much fun to just hang out and listen to you guys. So Sean and the whole team, thank you so much.
I was hoping for something related to his birth. Is that not going to happen here? I was hoping for a birth story.
Oh boy.
No.
It might be a bit much. It's too
Maybe
much.
you can tell something.
I'm going to pull back out of that. I don't want it to be awkward, but you got to try it, guys, right?
Yeah, about. Can you see me?
Don't worry
Can you
about
see
seeing
me?
you. Just
We
say
see you.
words.
It's great. It's perfect. Tell me more.
Hello.
Yep.
Yep.
We can hear you.
Yeah, no, but about birth, you know, Aditya, you know, he's, you know, from his birth till his, you know, school years, he's been a very laid back kid. Like even when, you know, my wife was pregnant, when Kirti was pregnant, we used to go to the doctor. They gave her a date. They said, okay, it's going to happen. This guy refuses to come out. He's like, you know, nicely snug in there. I'm sure, like, you know, enjoying the free food that he's getting there. And then eventually the doctor had to do a C-section to get this guy out.
I do love a good deal. Free food sounds pretty good.
That was actually I like that story, man. It says a lot about you. We learn more about you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I wonder if Arshad, do you have any stories from high school you might want to share? Arshad kind of got involved in this project.
So we're all in your world now. I'm good with that. Let's do that. Let's get into that.
Hey,
Arshad, a friend of yours?
We're waiting on Kyle anyway.
Yeah. Is Arshad a friend of yours?
Yep. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, we've lost touch, but thanks to this book project, a little pandemic, we've gotten to kind of reconnect a little bit. More. We could probably do more, but yeah.
Actually, I don't really have any stories from high school necessarily, but with everything like the stories that you guys are doing, something recently just happened literally like within the last 42 hours at work that I just figured it would make a funny little story. I'm not sure if it's going to be 90 seconds, but
all right, no worries.
So for well, obviously everyone knows that we have the COVID pandemic going on right now. Right now, I work in a healthcare facility in Florida that has a dedicated unit for coronavirus patients. And it was like a completely new wing, or still is rather. It happened to open just around like the beginning like April when coronavirus started, and now I find myself working on that unit. Just started there about like two or 3 weeks ago, kind of helping out. So I'm working there. They asked me to help cover an overnight shift. I figured, hey, that's cool. They need the help. I've been here for a couple of years. Let me like help them out a bit. So I'm helping one of the aides change a new admission that one of the new admissions just came out earlier that night. Guy needs to be cleaned up a little bit. That's fine. Find out he's incontinent, which I guess someone else in the previous story mentioned that they're like not able to control their bladder function. He's not able to control his bowels either, but this particular guy can't control his bladder function. And I'm thinking, his junk's pointed right at me. I hope he doesn't have an accident.
What's happening here?
Sure enough, like 10 seconds later, I'm like half asleep just because it's an overnight shift and I had to switch my sleep cycle, and I feel something like kind of vibrating in my pocket. I figure my phone's going off. It's not my phone. I look down to my other side. I'm like, oh, he's peeing on me. And I'm like, okay, thankfully I've got my PPE on. This unit's like got all proper gear just because we're like one of the 3 facilities in the state that's authorized by the state to be taking in positive patients. So I'm like, all right, I'm protected. I figured, well, let me change my gown because I don't want a gown that's been covered in pee. I don't want to like get any urine on any of their other patients. I take it off and realize the gowns are not exactly waterproof. I've got a big old pee stain that looks like I just peed myself on my scrub pants. And that's my story.
Woo! God. I don't know.
I wish it.
I don't
That's
know
one of those stories that you could say you wish it never stopped, but in some sense, I wish at least part of that story did stop.
Oh my God. I love your I don't know, you're not aware of it maybe, but like your style is so word like it's funny.
Yeah.
You're a funny
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah, Arshad, do you do any storytelling?
No, actually, this is like just nothing formal, nothing like to like
this is not
nearly on the level that you guys are doing. I
If
just
it's
figured
something you're interested in, we can get you into the school of Sean and Steph, and just get under their tree and grow. This was awesome.
Like writing a story has been something that like I've been kind of toying around with for years, but I just kept on putting it off. If you guys don't mind, like, is it okay to shout out someone else like from our high school that actually wrote a book?
Sure.
They graduated a year behind us. The book is called Evil for Evil. I actually haven't read it yet. Honestly, I ordered it. With work, I've just been too busy, but just because she's an alumni and like she's been actually practicing like writing stories. I don't necessarily know if it's like a humorous. I think it's probably more like a serious like fantasy type of story. But the author is J.B. Eliowitz.
14.
So if you want.
Sorry, go ahead.
So hopefully check that out, and if I ever do write a book of my own or anything, I'll definitely let you guys know.
Yeah, no, send over any of that info to myself. I'm happy to start amplifying that. And if you ever just want to come in some of these sessions, Sean and Steph do some really cool programming, and I'm sure a lot of other people here as well.
Do not shave that kick-ass beard.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been like just over a year, maybe like a year and a half now that I've been growing it out. So
damn.
I figured now I can start braiding it. And actually, I've been braiding it every once in a while, so I just haven't braided it today.
That's great. And until you're defeated in battle, you don't have to cut off any of it, I hear. Is that right?
Exactly.
Kal, the great Kal Rahat. Awesome. So I know Kyle just jumped in here as well. What's up, Kyle?
Now, quick question, Kyle. Truly, were you in traffic or did you have a little stage fright? It's fine if you did. Just tell us.
No. I've been out for about an hour and a half, and I got here, logged right in, and I got to see kind of the finals.
You did? Cool. You'll be in them next time.
Once you meet Kyle, you'll know there's no possible
fear.
He had stage fright.
There's no fear there. There's not a stage fright guy. Yeah.
All right. That's his resting, smiling face.
That's it.
I like that.
Cool. So how do we all feel, guys? It's not.
Okay, what about Kyle?
Yeah, Kyle, did you want to share a story?
Yeah. He has 2 stories, dude.
Yeah, I will, as a nod and a thank you to Steph, and a huge tip of my hat to Kwong. Well done, my friend. Yeah, if you guys have 90 seconds in you, I think I got it.
Yeah.
We've got.
Does that sound like a yes? I didn't hear.
I said, we have 90 for sure.
Okay.
And whenever you get started, I'll start the timer for you.
Awesome. I'm ready.
Off.
I'm at my home in my big house on my comfy couch, and I am sick. And it's important to know that when I'm sick, I'm not an adult male. I'm a tiny baby. I'm a wimp, and I need attention. And I know that this comes from my childhood when I was largely ignored, except for when I was sick. So by all accounts, I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time because I have my wife with me who's going to take care of me. Except her childhood was decidedly different. She was raised by parents that would say out loud to her face, if you fall down and you scratch something, you rub some dirt on it and you get back out there. She is a empathic giver. She has what I call the Mother Teresa gene. She works in hospice. She has the ability to care for everybody in need, except me in my dire need on the couch, where I have probably the worst kind of flu or a hangnail. I don't know. All I know is that here's a moment where she can come give me a hug, tussle my hair, and give me exactly what I need. So when she comes over to me, I know that I've got about 10 seconds to give her my entire list, because being the empathic list taker, she wants the entire list right now. And I give her the entire list, and I would have some apple juice, and I would like some chicken noodle soup, and I would like some ginger ale, and you could even double that with some Sprite, and perhaps you could bring me a piece of toast with some butter on. Thank you very much. And I'm on the couch and I'm waiting. And this woman who gives me exactly what I need and not even a little bit more returns to my couch with a plate. And on that plate's a piece of toast. She hands it to me, and as I get my toast, I think, whew, I'm thinking, where's my apple juice? Where's my chicken noodle soup? And then I look down, and my toast is cut in the shape of a heart with butter that is melting on the toast. And I can't breathe, not because of my ailment or my hangnail, but because this is the sweetest thing. This is the hug that I wanted from the person I wanted it from the most. Thank you.
Kyle Horton. Where are you, Kyle? Good job. Where does Kyle live?
I live outside of Washington, D.C.
All right, D.C. Which
Yeah.
side? The M or the V?
I live west of the city in McLean towards Tyson's.
Nice.
Do you know what Aditya? Do you know that area?
Yeah, so I did law school in DC and lived in Bethesda, then also Crystal City, and on a couple of different of those lines as well. So
Well, we just moved here. I moved here during the pandemic, so I don't know. When you ask me where I am, I'll be like, 1 second, let me Google that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, McLean's cool. I mean, I don't know. So much of what I think about what was cool is like, I don't know. It was so driven by the ability to meet people and travel and go to this spot and that spot. And so, I'll have to give you a COVID updated thing of things to do around there.
Right.
But
Yeah. Okay.
great hikes around that part of, outside of DC. Cool spot.
Awesome.
Good job,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
How was that on time?
Oh, you would have been disqualified immediately.
Kyle, we don't play around here.
Okay.
Yeah. It would have been an incredibly touching disqualification, though.
Okay,
But
what was
it was 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
That's too long. That's too long. That's too long. That's too long.
Too long. At some point, I was just like, I don't think Kyle knows that this was a 90-second competition, but I'm not going to say anything.
Good.
We're all having
Okay.
a good time here.
90 seconds is a little.
Congratulations. So
Yeah,
what-
I did have a question for Kwong before we leave. I think we can just obviously just have this be a conversation. If everyone wants to just unmute themselves now, I think we just chat. But the question I had for Kwong is, whenever I'm telling a story, and this 90-second thing is brand new for me. It was when Steph's Story Jam posted it, what was it, a couple of weeks ago or maybe a month ago, that I even started to think about how to craft it this way. And what I was doing was taking a story that might be like 3 minutes long or something, and just removing as much of the fluff, which to me, how you define fluff is obviously different. But for me, I'm like, oh, anytime I'm in my own head or having a thought or something, it's taking up a lot of time. And the action of what's happening is like the bare bones of how you get from one part of the story to the other. What I noticed about your stories, and let me know if this was intentional or your thoughts in general, is that you really focused on, if we were to say like what happened in the story, there was really maybe like 1 to 2 things that like happened. And we got to know a lot about how you were thinking about it and how it had affected you and things like that in both of your stories. So I'm just wondering if that was intentional, or did you do anything different in your 90-second story than you might do in another story?
Thanks, Didier. You make me sound like a master story crafter, and I wish I could tell you that I planned everything to the T, but I didn't. I think what I did do though was the first story I told was just something I happened to be talking about with somebody else, and it was just one of these short little moments that you have in a conversation, and you just get it out, and they're usually really short anyway. And I found that that was a lot easier for me. I've got a lot of bigger stories, but there's no way I could condense that down into 90 seconds. So I just thought about those little stories that I would tell someone in a conversation, which would be about a minute or 2 minutes long anyway. And it just made it a lot easier for me to craft it or know what was point A and what was point B, and just adding a little bit of details to give you some context without drowning you into too much information.
I'm curious which story of yours you thought was the better of the two.
I thought the first story was the better of the two, because I thought that there would have been a bigger emotional connection with the audience. Whereas the second story has a lot of surprise and a sort of bit of a wow factor, but I think the first one would have had a bit more of an emotional connection with the audience, which I think they would have enjoyed more. But happy to hear what your thoughts are.
Oh, you already know our thoughts.
Yes.
No, story 1 or story 2.
I actually, first of all, I thought they were both tremendous, but I thought story 2 was just out. To me, your story number 2 was the best story of all the stories of the night. I thought it was just exceptional, just amazingly good.
And I'm from New York, so that helps.
It would have been better if it had been set in the Chicago subway, but other than that, it's perfect.
the elevated train.
Yeah.
Thanks, Richard. Steph, did you have something to say as well?
I want to say thank you. Oh, and thank you for remembering. I wanted to tell you, I wanted to clarify your prizes, because nobody, I insisted upon a clear prize, but my 2 cohorts refused to be clear. So, well, I won't say they refused to be clear, but they pushed back on like a clear, real prize. But I do think that if you're willing and interested, we would love to post your stories on some social media, if that's okay. But you can look back and decide if you want.
Okay. No, I'm more than happy. I don't have anything to tie that to amplify myself, but I'm more than happy to. I think it'll be fun. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, everybody else can give us $20 for your stories to be posted. But Aditya, you have the recording, so with their blessing, we can. I mean, I think there were a lot of really good stories. We can maybe create a thing where we start to, if you want this to build a little bit, it's nice to have a sort of place in which people can see what is a 90-second story and what are some good examples of that and different ways you can do that. Because we saw like different, and at the end of the day, it's 90 seconds. You've got to have some kind of beginning, middle, end. You have to have something happen. There's no way around that, but we heard a lot of different kinds of things like within that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think not to make it all about Kwong, but what I thought was brilliant is I think he played around with the idea of this beginning, middle, and end a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Like there was a beginning, middle, and end, like from an emotional standpoint. But as far as like physically what was going on, yeah, there's technically was, but not in the traditional way. I think for me, what's interesting about this is what I heard from. Sorry, let me just admit some of the people that are waiting in the waiting room. But what I loved about this exercise is you can approach this two ways. What's this existing story I have, and how do I pare that down into 90 seconds? I think that teaches you the value of like, where is the beating heart of your story, which might just be useful when you want to tell someone this really cool story, just like in passing, or you're in an elevator or something, and you just want to like get that across to them. I think that's really cool and valuable to be able to understand the heart of it there. But then also, in my case, when I was just crafting it just for funsies, what was fun was like, oh wait, I don't have like this full complete story. I know I was at camp, I was eating some gross thing out of a glass, but how can I just get to 90 seconds and then we can figure out how to build it later? Almost the opposite approach of like, I don't have a story yet, but I don't know how to make it a 5 or 10 minute story yet at all. But this becomes a nice like stepping stone to like, okay, so people seem to resonate with this. Now let's start to build out the characters, and then that can be more fun in a different way of structuring it. So I don't know if anyone will ever get into the mode of like, I have got a few stories in mind, let me turn them into 90 seconds. 90 can become 2 minutes or 3 minutes and then 5 minutes, and it can become a structure. I don't know if that'll work or not, or might work for certain types of people. But it's something I was toying around with, and for me at least, it might be helpful for certain types of stories.
Yeah. Let's go back to Kwong, because really we should put more focus on him. Because Kwong, you were saying that how you wanted to, I'm sure other people approach it this way, in which it's, what would you say to your friend around the dinner table? But to me, there's one difference in that we will say what happened in our day in this a moment that we recall that has some weight. We usually don't tie it up the same way. At least I don't. So when we're sharing a story here, there's and the endings tend to be different, right? Because we have to say, whether we use the word or not, I realized, or something, we tie it up. If your story ties up, right? The New York story ties up. You probably wouldn't have said that if you were casually talking to a friend, the same ending, So to me, that's just it's like a more formal version.
If it was just a story to the friend, it would be, the weirdest thing happened to me the other day when I was in New York, blah blah, and then they gave me this picture and it was me, and I felt like, whoa, that's crazy, and that's where it would end. And then there'll be like back and forwards. But I guess with storytelling, you need to sort of give it a moment or that beat to make everyone know, okay, this is the ending, and there's a bit of a purpose, like there's a bit of a journey from the beginning to the end. So the beginning is, New York is scary, or that these are my stereotypes, and then I find out that New York's really beautiful, and there are things that I judge a book by its cover, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, it'll be nice to have that nice sort of ending, and let just people take away what they want to take away from that whole message.
It's cool. I feel like you trust the listener or reader a lot, which is cool. Awesome. Well,
Kurt,
what do we think, folks?
And Scary Joe and Jay and your mother and your father and Kyle and Arshad and Shabs might have something to say as well. One of them.
Yeah, I want Aditya's mother to tell stories about him when he was a teenager.
I'm so glad they've got internet issues. I'm so happy. Couldn't be more happy. She's connecting to audio. I'm not sure if she can even hear us right now.
I love that we are watching Arshad smoke a cigarette on his porch right now.
Oh, that's not a cigarette. That is a big diesel hookah device, I think.
Oh, is that a hookah? Okay.
Yeah, it's a hookah. So it just adds to the fact that besides being in Florida, it looks really like my house really is on fire, but it's just a hookah.
Yeah.
So Aditya, I think it would be a good idea at some point to ask anybody who was here, or some people, like to get some feedback, because we did this very quickly.
Oh yeah.
So
I've already received some feedback.
Right. But But we could definitely make it much better, tighter, whatever, you know, from the get-go.
Yeah. Thing about storytellers is they are ready to tell you a story of how you did
How you sucked
and
ass.
how this could have been done better.
How they could have done it so much better, yeah.
Well, how it could have been better, you know. They'll go into the
Actually,
passive voice in that scenario.
I thought it went really well. I mean, the first set of voting I thought was a little slow, but you worked it out. And by the second group, it, you know, I thought it went really well.
Yeah,
I thought the same as well. I sat and I watched the whole thing, except for the moment that you called my name. but I enjoyed.
We believe you, Harold, that you saw the whole thing.
Yeah, the first round was a little tedious, but it got better, and it was very nice to be able to hear the interviews with people, even though those were a little weird sometimes. But it was nice to be able to hear something about that person other than their story. So I enjoyed this session. It was fun.
Cool.
No, I'm glad to hear that. I think, you know, some of the competing virtues or values we're trying to grab here is, one, obviously we want storytellers to tell stories, but how many of them do you want to tell the story in a competition setting? So now you've got a timing issue. You also want those storytellers to feel like they didn't just come, deliver, and then were kind of used as like a cog in a wheel. So that's where, of course, I would love to know more about them, but then you run up against a timing pattern there too. Then do we make it a competition of some kind? And if so, what kind of prize are we talking about? You might get some butthurt storytellers from a feeling of like, wait, I feel like had I known more X, or had I told a story that was a little more Y, they don't know their audience either. We've got myself and my sort of people, Sean's people, Steph's people. Those are all not the same people. And so exactly how they'll all react. Like if you go to, as Richard will probably talk your ear off, you go to a Moth, there's a certain type of crowd, if you will. Whereas here, there was kind of a shot in the dark. And so if anything, that would make me more excited than just like, oh, I should try to make my story Moth-like or something. To know that I'm just like getting to tell it's almost freeing. Let me just tell my story the way I want to. But yeah, so there was a bunch of like competing priorities along the way. And yeah, I think like just figuring out exactly what we wanted to do in that scenario and then just going after it and saying, no, like there won't be more than X amount of people, or no, there's zero prize, or yes, there's definitely this exact prize. And
Let's
you know,
be
those
honest,
things we were working out. But you know, if you may have caught at the beginning, like we started this on Tuesday. So,
they don't need to know all the background stuff, but in truth, it was mostly Aditya and Steph bickering back and forth and me trying to put a goddamn word in and being ignored. That's not going to happen again, I promise you. That was good.
So the different kinds of stories were just fun because you had just a whole different variety of different kinds of stories and storytelling styles. The competition part of it was also fun because it wasn't so serious. It certainly wasn't as serious as things like the Moth and some other story slam activity. But the competition portion was a way of just kind of holding the whole thing together. So you kept it light, it was fun, you didn't take it as serious, and you know, so kudos for putting this together.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's how you viewed it. If other people viewed it exactly like that, where it was a completely, let's not take this too seriously, but let's have a structure of a competition. That's exactly what I think all of us were shooting for. Maybe Sean more on the competition side, maybe me on just the like, let's just have a good time side, and somewhere in between is where we landed. I can live with that. And thank you for your feedback.
And we'll make it tight. We'll do another one and we'll make it a little tighter and we'll tweak it here or there. And, you know, I think it could be a little shorter, right? We're over 3 hours, but some people want to stay on for a while. It's all good.
Yeah. And the competition ended on time, like maybe 9:10 or something, you know?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. And some people
I think the thing of having having the 90-second thing, and I don't think you'd ever get many more. I mean, this is like 20 people, 17 people or something. You probably wouldn't get many more than that. You could have 5 in a group. But I think just the fact that it's 90 seconds, so it's not a big investment like a 5 or a 10 or a 20-minute story is. And then you get this variety, just like let people tell stories, you know, and it's just fun. And I mean, I know it's work for you guys. And then, I mean, the prize, a t-shirt or some PR, that's cool, you know? But that's not why you construct a 90-second story. But who knows, maybe it'll go viral.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll have to ask Sneha about that. TikTok doesn't get you to 90 seconds, but damn, like multiple videos with 1 million views and stuff. It's cool.
What kind of videos does she make?
Like
So
funny
I
videos.
think so. This is what I think will really get under your skin, Richard. I think she's got a dog who some of it are just her dog.
Yeah.
In fact, the channel belongs to the dog. So the dog is crushing it more than many people in this room.
Oh.
Like, a lot of people put a lot of time into their channels and they get like 111 views.
All right.
Oh my God, it's gaining traction. We have like 400 views. She's got millions for her dog. Yeah. Hey, whatever. I mean, she's doing something right.
Yeah.
Right. We need a master class on that. I'm sure she can teach it.
All right.
All right, folks. Well, I'm gonna. If you want, I can leave this Zoom on and mute myself, or we can call it an evening.
Guys, thanks a lot. That was great. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Thanks so
job,
much
everybody.
for joining us.
Great job.
This was
awesome,
very
guys.
touching. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.